Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. And I'm glad to be back in the building. I did get to watch the game, but I was not able to come on last night because I was at the Haunted Mansion, the Vampire Manor, that's what it's called. I was at Vampire Manor with my daughter. And then we went to see Joker, which was a pretty good movie. So, back in the building, and I want to talk about preseason takeaways. Preseason takeaways. We're going to talk about the game a little bit last night, but really I want to focus on preseason takeaways. All right, what did you take away from the preseason? And then what are your predictions for the season based on the takeaways from the preseason? So let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, Sky Zoo is going to be on the show Monday at 10:30 p.m. as we break down the Knicks. We're going to talk about what he's seen from the preseason and what his predictions are for the Knicks coming into this year. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing started. You know what I'm saying? Look, do me one big favor, though. One big favor. Subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell. You'll be notified anytime I go live, drop a video, or post to my community section. If you're on Sportscaster right now, follow me on Sportscaster. On Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? You guys know the deal, but for those who are brand new to the channel, you don't know the deal. So go ahead and follow me right now. And look, let's get this popping, man. We got Andy in the chat. We got Guillermo in the chat. So, you know, I'm going to talk to you guys. I want to get your take on last night's game really quick. And then we'll start talking about, you know, we'll start talking about your takeaways from the preseason. Okay, but before I get to that, I need to change the topic at the bottom of the screen so that everything says exactly what I wanted to say. So I'm going to change the topic right now to preseason takeaways. And there we go. All right. Let me see. Guillermo, I'm going to come to you first, man. What's going on?
Yo, what's up, Sam?
How you feeling?
Overall, man. Well, first and foremost,
I'm just saying personally, how you feeling personally? It's the weekend. How you feeling, man?
Oh yeah, I'm moving. So like, I was just gonna say, for people who are moving, if you don't have a lot of stuff, a really smart way to do stuff like push boxes or like containers is use Uber or use what's the name? If you don't live too far away, don't use these moving companies that jip you off, man. But yeah, other than that, man, I finally got like 7 hours of rest. I don't know how I did it because my body, once you start working stupid early in the mornings, like your body just doesn't want to sleep anymore. So I was really blessed for that. This is like really old man benefits. But anyway, yeah, about the game, man. About the game, man. I'm mixed on the game, man.
Are you moving far?
I'm moving down the block, but it's like, it's tough because if I use the carts and stuff, there's so many cracks on the floor that it's kind of hard. Yeah. And then the car stuff, like Uber, I mean, it's fine. It's like $8 away from it, but yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad, but yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, on the Knicks stuff, man, I'm mixed, man, because look, again, preseason. You know, I have ideas on, you know, DSJ. There's so many things that, you know, I looked at him. He missed a few pick and rolls. I know Frank or a really good point guard would have gotten. He's trying to process the game and it's just not coming to him yet. You know, RJ is going to be a player. RJ, I think he's built for New York. People want to talk about Zion, and I'm gonna get to Zion too in terms of, you know, I watched a video on him where this doctor broke down how his body type might just not be suited for the NBA unless he loses a lot of weight. So I'm really happy that we got RJ. RJ's a beast. You know, the pressure. I think he's one of those guys. He plays up to the pressure. It doesn't get to him. He's self-validated. I love it. Frank is going to be the starting point guard. He just has to be. I like Alfred Payne, but I just think that Frank gives you enough on defense, and he could be a guy on offense to facilitate, to make those slick, silky pass moves. I'm scared for Julius Randle because as much as I like Julius Randle, I don't want him to play like he has to justify a contract. Last night you saw it where he tried to play the hero, trying to take up the ball. He had 2 crucial turnovers. His defense still wasn't good. And then at the end, obviously, the last few plays. And then on Fizdale, even with that last few plays, I'm not trying to kill Fizdale. I'm not saying fire Fizdale.
1 second, Guillermo. You know what, though?
My bad.
I kind of have a few disagreements with people about Julius Randle in those last minutes. I do.
Okay.
Everyone's going to focus on the offensive side, but he also made some very good defensive plays.
Oh yeah, and
to give the Knicks a chance to win, he made some very good defensive plays. But everyone's focusing on the missed shots and maybe the missed shots and the turnovers. But the one turnover, he wouldn't have had the turnover if he didn't get the steal.
No, and Sim, I agree 1,000%. And yes, I'm still trying to make the video. Hopefully I can do it by next week once I move everything in. But with Julius Randle, that's the thing about him. His defense he's not cancer, right? But it's weird because sometimes he can give you outstanding defense, make ridiculously good blocks, play really good defense on top-notch players, and then it's the inconsistency with it, right? So I'm not taking away. I'm just saying that in terms of offensive flow of things, right? And I'm not harping too much on his overall game, but I just don't want him to feel like he has to justify. But that's not his game. He's a great support. He's a really good supporting player, and he could probably possibly be great. But it's just certain things, right? When certain guys are hot, don't take out of hand. And yes, he made those plays down the stretch. So I'm not trying to get on him too much. And then the last thing, I know you got to get to Andy, but the last thing I was going to say was on Fizdale, I worry about the coach in terms of what plays he's running, what sets he's running. Because, and I know the last play is one thing, but this Knicks team can't be the Knicks team of yesteryear where we get hot or we figure things out at the end. Right, that kid, was it Jackson? No, not Jackson. Alexander something, the kid with the long name, was killing us with threes. And it's like, we don't get it until the very end. Same thing with Trae Young. We don't get it to the very end as to what the defensive alignment, what the defensive adaptation should be. We get it at the end versus we should be getting this stuff halftime. You know what I mean? Or within the quarter that's happening, it should be, all right, we know what he's doing. We know what he likes to do. We have the scouting him. Crowd that guy. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to harp too much and say kill this guy or throw this guy on the bus, whatever, but it's just certain things. But I think I know what the lineup should be going forward. And I think that RJ should be leaning it. Frank should be leaning it. Mitch has to be leaning it. And Randall should be leaning as well, and Morris has to be leaning because that gives us the best opportunity to win on the defensive end. And offensively, I think guys like RJ Barrett, watch how he plays. It's not just explosiveness, he's not the most explosive, but in terms of smart playing, right? When things are getting too crazy, hectic, the other team has a nice little flow going on. You know what I mean? You need a guy to kind of calm everything down to make the smart plays. And another thing I'll say too, last thing, I know you got to go to Andy, Trier needs to be getting heavy minutes. If that means that Trier, I don't know how you have to be starting him, but I think that Trier as a player, even when he missed those 2 threes in a row, you know what I mean? I didn't feel like, I felt like this kid, I think he's starting to get it as a 2 guard that could get heavy minutes. Should he be starting? I'm not sure yet. Maybe when Morris gets traded, you push RJ to the 3, or I don't know how it worked. But Trey needs to be getting heavy minutes because he's probably shown the most development just mentally. When you see how he plays, he's shown the most development, I think, out of all the Knicks players who came back from last season. So
okay,
yeah, those are all my points.
Let me get to some of these other guys. Andy, come to you, man. What's going on, man? So how were you feeling about it, man?
You know what? I enjoyed the game. I had the pleasure to watch it with Mark in the video chat. So
okay.
We were, deciding it on live almost, except for my 40-second delay. But you know what? I saw a couple of things better than the previous 2 games. I noticed a couple of changes in, personal guy plays and stuff like that, like say Randall. It's always easy to, tell the guys that they did something bad and, pick it up after the game when you're not live and stuff like that. It's always easier to do it after it happens and after somebody does something bad, right? So it's easy from that point. No, like you said, maybe I wouldn't bash Randall too bad, but he had some maybe not stupid plays, but plays that you should be more team oriented. Let's call it that way. I'm not saying that to pass out from the post and stuff like that, but the last shot, I don't think Frizz drew it that way for the first thing, because I don't think it's supposed to be taking a shot like that with a dribble between the legs and just chuck it up. What more? I was surprised because the 3-point defense in the first two quarters wasn't that bad. We contested at least them a little bit better than the last previous two games. But when I saw the number that they already have 14, and it was like in the third quarter, I was like, man, I must have stepped over something. Yeah, but it was a little bit better. At least the score wasn't that bad. We lost by 1, so it could be either way, right? It wasn't a blowout, so.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, there were some things that I was impressed with the team with last night, though. And listen, a lot of people I was looking on Twitter and I didn't see the game. I seen little bits and pieces of the game as I was, going to the Vampire Manor, right, and going to the movies and stuff. I seen little bits and pieces, so I didn't see it all. But then when I look back on Twitter, I seen people, and I got messages from people that say, "Oh, just a bunch of stuff," and I was like, "Whoa, did we get blown out?" Because it was close when I seen it, right?
Yeah.
And then when I look back at the game, I seen things a little bit differently than I think other people seen things.
Yeah, and what? Just to add to this, like you said, that you see a little bit different. I just sometimes I just take notes for guys, and for example, yesterday everybody was on Dennis Smith Jr. about his defense. When you think about it, and when you saw the game, he had I think maybe at least four deflections that I counted, but most of those deflections came because someone helped him a little bit out on the defense, right? And that's a situation that you should be happy that he had those deflections, but you can't account him like it wasn't a one-on-one defense that he got those deflections, right? But it's still, I think his defense, at least on a couple of plays, was a little bit better than even I supposed. I was surprised about that.
Yeah. All right. Let me get to Viv and Mark. Let me see who this is. This is Isaiah.
Hi, this is John.
And
need a favor.
Isaiah,
and they're asking for.
You gotta turn that down in the back, man. You gotta mute yourself before you come in, because we don't want to hear your customers. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to hear your customers' personal business. Come on, Isaiah, think about it. You know what I'm saying? What if somebody was giving away some kind of an account number and it got all over the, Jeez, this guy. You got to think about it. Viv, I'm coming to you, man. What's going on? I know,
man. Man, Sim, you are. All right, man, let me focus. I can't stop laughing. Listen, look, preseason overall kind of is what it is at this point. I think, a lot of what everybody said makes a lot of sense. I did watch the last play of the game. I watched it earlier today, and shout out Tommy D. He broke it down actually in film, and I was able to watch it a little carefully. But looks like what happened was, so on that last play, there was supposed to be a screen set for Randle, but that screen, it wasn't set properly. I guess DSJ was supposed to set a down screen for Randle to get to the 3-point line. And the switch was supposed to happen. I think it was supposed to be Kenrich Williams was supposed to switch on to Randle. But the guy who was guarding Randle, I forget what the guy's name is. It starts with an M. But he read the screen, so they never actually switched. So he ended up just meeting Randle right at the 3-point line. So then, once Randle got the ball, he just he kind of got flustered, and then he didn't really realize what the clock situation was, which was also egregious on your own. Yeah, Melly. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, so Melly guarded Randle, then Randle got flustered, and then he took this bad shot. But, anyways, with that outstanding, we saw goods and bads. Look, I think with Fizz is in a hard place. I saw more plays run in preseason than I saw in chunks of the season last year. I have seen plays run, and they are running it. It's whether they're running it properly, it's a different story. But they are trying to run plays. I did see it. The ball movement is a little bit better, even though at times it does stick a lot. But I blame team chemistry for that. But look, I mean, RJ has shown us what. He's ready for this moment. And my only gripe is that I think RJ probably played, he played a lot of minutes in preseason. And
yes,
I'm personally against playing. See, my problem with that is, right, I don't want to burn him out too much, because playing 38 minutes is a lot of minutes, right? I know he's 19, but I heard the counter arguments. I don't want to burn him out too much. My other issue is that I always thought of preseason as a way to kind of get to see what other players doing. I wanted to see a lot of these training camp guys that we signed in preseason or before training camp. I wanted to see them play. And it was kind of a shame not to see them play. I thought we could have had a better opportunity for them to play in minutes. I wish Trier played a little bit more. But my final point is this, right? With all the point guard situation, I wish if you were to combine all 3 point guards and you combine Alonzo Trier into just one player, I think you would have a really, really damn good point guard. Right now, I think all 4 of them have their own flaws. But if you just combine all 4 together, I mean, you have a good player. Yeah, and I think that's really the toughest.
I'm going to look at some of the, our 3 point guards, who are labeled as point guards. Frank Ntilikina, Dennis Smith Jr., Elfrid Payton. We're going to take a look at some of their preseason stats. Yeah. And it's not pretty. I'm telling you right now, Viv, it is not.
It's not. I looked at it, it's bad. It's bad.
It's bad. I'm going to go over it in a little bit. It is not pretty at all. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's really not that good. Man, it's a shame. DSJ, look, I saw better moments yesterday. I think he's still rusty, and I can expect the rust. But you can kind of see it when he's trying to attack the paint. His explosiveness is not there. It seems very very awkward. It's just something kind of missing, and it clearly something to do with the rust. And because he's not finishing like he once used to, it's very weird. Payton, I don't know about Payton either. Like something's off with Payton too. But either he's like not as comfortable on offense or whatever it is. I just don't see it. And one thing about Randle got to stop being mellow, because he got those mellow tendencies in him. He's got to chill with these taking 10 seconds off the clock. Don't do that. It's really destroying the flow of the game. But look, I don't want to pick too much, man. I don't want to pick on him too much.
In defense of Randle, I mean, he is, and in defense of Randle, Randle's young enough where he's still going to listen and pay attention to the coach. He didn't have the type of career Melo had coming into the league, where he was already, this high-powered, high-octane scorer. Right. Randle's kind of had a progression, so I'm pretty sure he's used to listening and hearing the coach and will follow the coach's instructions. David Fizdale has to let him know too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You can't do this. You got, you get the ball, make a move quickly. If you're not going to make a move, get it out your hands. So some of that I put on David Fizdale, because I see the same thing with Randle. Sometimes he's holding the ball too long, and then also it's him making that adjustment to being your primary scorer. You know what I mean? I think, it's him making that adjustment, and he's, maybe has some to learn. My question is, and we'll probably get to it a little bit later, is Fizdale the guy to teach him how to be a primary scorer? If he's ever going to be that in his career. I don't know if he's ever going to be a primary scorer. Right now he is. Right, but a primary scorer on a really, really good team, will he be? I don't know. We'll see how he develops, because he's still only 24. I think he's going to turn 25 next month or something like that.
Yeah, he's only be 25 this season, yeah.
Right. But is Fizdale, with the style of play that Fizdale seems to have, is he the guy to teach him how to be a primary scorer? I don't know.
It's gonna be hard. It's hard. I don't think that he's naturally gonna be. He's not naturally number one scorer. Even same for RJ Barrett. I mean, RJ Barrett's gonna show us a lot, but I think in the grand scheme of things, on a really really good team, RJ Barrett probably won't end up as your top flight scorer. But that could also change too. There's a lot of things I got wrong. I mean, a lot of people got things wrong on RJ Barrett coming out of Duke.
Yeah,
but he's shown us stuff that we never saw in Duke either.
Right.
So
and it could change when he develops that mid range shot. I think in his 3-point shot, he could end up being that guy. You know what I mean? Because,
sky's the limit for him.
You know why I think he could? Because he's not just solely focused on scoring the basketball. He has eyes around the court, and he's very, very willing to pass the ball to the open man. So if you have him as your primary guy, if he develops to be a primary scorer, I don't think you're going to have to worry about him just having his eyes zoning in on the hoop and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to be a triple threat from that position, let me say one thing quick before you jump to Mark and Isaiah. There's just something about RJ Barrett. Like he has it. You can sense it, right? He has something that, is like, this is like my city type of thing, right? Where you saw it in Wade a little bit in Miami. You saw it in some of these other guys. It's not about the skill. It's about the moxie. And there's something about the moxie where he has it. Like, I can just tell by his demeanor, he's playing like he's like a 5-year vet right now, like a 5 to 7 year vet. Like, there's something about his demeanor that you can't even tell he's 19. Yeah,
like he has that, and he has a killer, not a killer instinct. I don't want to go that far, but he has something in it.
True, and he goes about his business. He's not, I mean, of course, he does some things that young kids are going to do, and he should. But, he's not popping his shirt and da-da-da-da. He just goes about his business. He's business-like on the floor, too, man. And he has a little bit of flair to him, but he's very business-like, and he's just out there to get it done. So, yeah. RJ, Bombo in the chat says RJ is our true cornerstone. He just might be, man. I'm looking forward to see how he develops during the season if he doesn't get run into the ground. Because 38 minutes is a lot. And, I know he's been to Duke and they play a lot of games and he's been in the spotlight at Duke and all that kind of stuff. But still, you got to play 82 games in the season. And he's still a young guy that has yet to play that number of games, has yet to travel the way that you travel in the NBA and deal with the rigors of the NBA. You don't want him hitting the rookie wall in December if he's going to hit it, which most rookies do. You don't want him hitting it in December. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. We're going to see how that is. Although I do understand, he's the kind of guy that does a lot of little things on the floor. He plays defense very well. I think a lot of people discounted the way he plays defense. He's a very smart defender. He seems to have dedicated himself to defense. He knows when to switch, who to switch on to, how to talk on defense. Of course, every once in a while, everyone gets beat or something like that, and that's going to happen. So it's hard to take him floor. You don't want to take him off the floor in that aspect because he plays defense well. Offensively, last night he scored 19 points. He took 12 shots. Right, he was 9 for 12. He's not the kind of guy, if he's not shooting well, that's going to just start chucking them up so he can make shots. He does so many different things on the court. It does make it hard to take him off the floor, because he does a lot of things. So, he's a good one, man. He's a good one. I'm trying to come to Mark, but I see Mark having a conversation with somebody. Mark, are you ready? All right.
Hold on, Guamo.
All right, go ahead, Mark.
All right, let me say this.
Uh-huh.
If we're going to be a winning team, we have to play as a collection of talent because, Randle, he's a good supporting cast. This all-star thing that y'all guys got going on, that's just not in his favor, me personally.
Oh.
And guess what? I just start Frank. We live and die by him. If he doesn't develop, cool. I can't have this guy at my point guard. I'm sorry. It's just
this guy.
Not going to work out at all.
Who is this guy? Who is this guy? You said I can't have this guy. Who is this guy?
Dennis Smith Jr. Dennis Smith Jr., the one that started for us, he's not going to cut it. He's not. And his shooting still has the hitch, still has it. He's scared to take the shot. He had a whole bunch of open shots last night off the pass, and was so afraid of shooting the ball. Randle has a problem. My other problem with Randle is when we playing with pace, because a lot of last night when we got back into the game was with the pace that we should be playing with. If players going to give him the ball when we come off rebound, he has to push the ball. He cannot be skipping slowly up and down the court, okay? Because number one, our team, we don't set screens. Our big men do not set screens whatsoever. That's why when teams play defense on us, they look good. They look good on defense because our big men do not set the proper screens whatsoever for our offense to even look somewhat of an offense. That's why it looks bad. That's why we look slow at times when we shouldn't, because we have young guys that's willing to run. But when you have these ball handlers that are just skipping up the court and not playing with this pace, it hurt us offensively, and it makes teams that is okay on defense look like Golden State on defense. Last night, New Orleans looked like Golden State on defense. There's no way when I was watching that game, Jrue Holiday should be posting the hell up on Julius Randle the way he was doing last night. And this thing with Randle being a rebounder, he's not. He's a lazy rebounder. Because if you watch that game and go look at these clips, he daydreams under the basket. If he's going to be down there, he has to rebound. He almost looks soft for the body that he has. Okay? And that gives up possessions. That gives up possession that leads into 3 points because we barely could guard the 3-point line. I don't know why. You have the kid that they drafted, Alexander. He was just raining threes last night. Like it was nothing. Like he just felt like he was Klay Thompson last night. I'm glad we fought back. Cool. That's cool. Respect to Trier, because one thing about the kid, he did everything right. Even though he missed those 2 shots, I'm glad he took those shots because it could have went in. But his confidence didn't waver. A lot of our guys' confidence wavers, man. We can't have that because teams tend to sink on us on that. They know what player don't have the confidence to do what we need to do. Then we all look bad as a collection of talent because we don't have that de facto one guy that can get us a bucket in situations like that. Cool, Randle did his thing. I'm not mad with him, but
you are mad with him. Yeah,
I'm mad with him. But
I want to ask you this, though. Right? You know, you're saying that he's not a rebounder, but he's averaging 8 rebounds a game. So how is he getting those 8 rebounds?
It's not coming off where he's like definitely grabbing a rebound.
So what's it coming off of?
It's lazy rebound. Like it comes to him, but it's his activity under the basket is not good for a guy that somewhat can rebound.
So how many rebounds do you expect him to have then?
10 easily.
Okay, so he's at 8. So he's at 8, right? And you got to remember also that they're putting him at point forward a lot too. So he's not on the basket on the offensive side.
They have to stop that.
But I know. But we're talking about Julius Randle. He's also running that point forward spot a lot. So he's out on the perimeter on the offensive side. So that's going to take away some of his offensive rebounds as well.
Listen. Whatever they doing on offense, stop running it up top with him because he gets turnovers like crazy dribbling. He's not even a good dribbler. He don't have moves to dribble like that. That's why he gets ripped every time. Stop putting him up top. It hurt us a lot, man. When he was in the post a lot, he got a lot of open passes, but because our point guards can't shoot the ball or afraid to shoot the ball, it hurt us a lot, man. Just start Frank. Listen,
Well,
just start Frank. Just start Frank. Because
Okay, but listen up. I'm gonna move on. But
go ahead.
To back up my point about his rebounding,
Yeah.
right? He's averaging 0.8 offensive rebounds a game, so less than one in the preseason. That is attributed to him being out on the perimeter, playing that point forward a lot, right? He's averaging 7.3 rebounds on the defensive side. Now, if he was under the basketball on the offensive side, he may get 2 or 3 offensive rebounds and be up there around 11 rebounds per game.
So it's not that. It's just his activity, like the way he looks under the rim. Like he don't look active when the ball is coming off the rim. For a guy that is that athletic and that could bully someone, he should. There's some guys in this league that grab rebounds at a smaller position. I'm looking at Julius Randle body type, his aggression.
All right,
he should be active.
And there's some guys in this league that are taller than him and should be grabbing more rebounds that don't. Namely,
okay, perfect example. Russell Westbrook grabbed more rebounds than him.
How many? Okay, I mean, all right. You know what? It happens that way. And maybe Russell Westbrook gets a lot of kick-out rebounds, too, from teams launching up threes. Whatever it is, that happens. I get that. And he's not Russell Westbrook. But Kristaps Porzingis is averaging 6.6 rebounds per game, and he's 7'3", 7'1". That's your boy. He's averaging 6.6 rebounds per game. You didn't have any problems about him averaging 6.6 rebounds per game when he was on the Knicks. You didn't have no problem with that. You were more worried about other stuff. But that's your boy. So you was okay with that. Isaiah, I'm coming to you, man. Isaiah, you ready or you working? You need 5 minutes? All right, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. So this is what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to come back to Mark because I know Mark's going to have a response to me about Kristaps Porzingis and his 6.6 rebounds per game in the preseason. That's cool. I'm with that. You know what I'm saying? I'll let him have his I let him have his say, his 39.3% and 6.6 rebounds and 28.6% from the three-point line. You know what I'm saying? So I know he's going to have, some stuff to say. Roz, I need a favor from you, my man. You're going to have to turn that TV off in the background. All right? You're going to have to turn that TV off. Can't have that TV going in the background. I don't think he can hear me. I'm going to have to... Andy, I'm taking him out. When he comes back in, let him know that he's got to have that TV off in the background. Can't have that TV on. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some preseason takeaways, and then we'll get to everybody because I know everyone's got their ideas of, what they took away from the preseason. All right, everyone's got their ideas of what they took away from the preseason. So, we're going to go over a few things. My takeaways, what I see from the preseason. All right. And I want to remind you, hit that like button, smash that like button. All right. Hit me with a thumbs up. Ring that notification bell or subscribe to the channel, then ring the notification bell. And you'll be notified anytime I go live or drop a video, post in my community section, anything like that. All right. So make sure that you do that for me right now. Also, if you're on Sportscaster, follow me. Follow me on Sportscaster, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to some takeaways from the preseason. All right. We're going to get to the first one, of course. And the first one, ladies and gentlemen, is the point guard battle. Right? Obviously, the point guard battle is not settled. For some of you, I guess for some of you it's settled. And you're ready to say this guy should be or shouldn't be. But to be honest with you, for David Fizdale, this point guard battle ain't settled, ladies and gentlemen. It's not settled at all. It's not settled at all. And let's be real. It might be a little while before this point guard battle is settled. You know what I mean? David Fizdale is still trying to figure out who's going to be the point guard for the New York Knicks. He may have an idea who's going to start the first game. Right? He may have an idea who's going to start the first game, but I don't think this point guard battle is settled whatsoever. When we take a look at these numbers, you're going to see what this whole point guard battle looks like. You know what I mean? And then you'll understand why David Fizdale is having such a hard time figuring out who do I start at this point guard position. Because for real, folks, it's not pretty. It's not pretty whatsoever. So let's start taking a look at some of these guys and, the positions. We're going to start with Dennis Smith Jr. All right, we'll start with Dennis Smith Jr. Let me get myself up on the screen. There we go. Dennis Smith Jr. so far in the preseason. He's only played 2 games in the preseason because he was injured due to sore back. Right, and we can only hope that his sore back does not continue to give him problems, or I don't want to say sore back, his back doesn't continue to be sore and give him problems throughout the season. I hope that it does not. You know what I'm saying? Because he's one of the guys who we said, if we plan on or we hope to make the playoffs, we're going to need Dennis Smith Jr. We're going to need Dennis Smith Jr. to take a step forward this season. And you know that he wants to because he's in a contract year. Not a contract year. The Knicks can either pick up his option or decline his option. And that's going to happen in a couple of days. Right? So you know he wants to play well. Same with Frank Ntilikina, but we'll get to Frank. So far in the preseason, over 2 games, Dennis Smith Jr.'s averaged 6.5 points per game. 5.5 rebounds per game. Right? 4.5 assists. 3 turnovers. And now here's the kicker, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be something that you don't want to see. I promise you. But I'm going to put it up on the screen because you're going to see it anyway. You got to see it. From the field, Dennis Smith Jr. shooting 17% from the field. 17% from 3. This is not exactly... So, you know what? He's 17.6% from the field. So let's say 18% from the field, 17% from 3 because he's 16.7% from 3. Clearly, this is not what we expected from Dennis Smith Jr. But let's understand he came in off injury, right, with a back problem. Played 2 preseason games. This is not going to be, in my opinion, I do not believe these numbers are going to be representative of what he does over the season. All right? Look, Dennis Smith Jr., unless he's taking a serious decline somehow physically this season, I don't expect him to remain with these averages. His first season in Dallas, Dennis Smith Jr. shot 41.7% from the field and 45.5% from 3. That was his first season. Well, that was his first preseason. I'm sorry. So let me get some different numbers for you. All right. So his first season in Dallas, Dennis Smith Jr. was 39.5% from the field, 31.3% from 3. Second season, he was 44% from the field, 34.4% from 3. Then he got traded to the Knicks. He was 41.3% and 41.3% from the field and 28.9% from 3. All right, so 2018, 2019, his totals were 42.8% from the field and 32.2% from 3. All right, so now we're into the regular season. I mean, we're into the preseason for 2019, 2020. Unless he's taking some serious step back physically, I would not expect him to remain at 17.6% from the field and 16.7% from 3. It's just not going to happen. He needs to get in shape. Not in shape. He needs to get in basketball playing shape. And then, of course, he's got to work himself into... He's got to figure out how to play with the players that's on the floor. All right. So I'm not expecting that Dennis Smith Jr. is going to stay with these type of numbers. offensively, at least from points per game. Rebounds, assists, maybe. Points per game, it's going to go up. You can believe that. And he's going to be much more of a threat on the floor, scoring-wise. I'm going to tell you what I did not see from Dennis Smith Jr. in those two games. I didn't see the ability for him to recognize people when he's on the floor. The ability for him to recognize the open man quick enough. Like, for example, I've seen some plays from Elfrid Payton where I felt he did recognize people fast enough. You know, because it's just natural for him. It's just natural for him. And it's not natural for Dennis Smith Jr. That's not what Dennis Smith Jr. does. You know, it just isn't. And it's very hard to make something that's unnatural become natural to you. You know what I mean? So then, of course, that poses the question, is he going to be the guy, you know, that you want running your point guard spot? Well, that's going to depend on the type of system that David Fizdale wants to run. If David Fizdale wants to run a type of system that's going to be, you know, based on the point guard being a scorer and an attacker, then yeah, you might go with Dennis Smith Jr. If he's going to run the kind of system that's going to be based on a point guard being you know, someone who distributes and looks to get their teammates involved and facilitates the offense, then you may be looking towards Frank Ntilikina or Elfrid Payton. But that's Dennis Smith Jr.'s numbers right now. So this point guard battle, well, let me get to Frank Ntilikina. Let's go to Frank Ntilikina now. Because a lot of people are saying, well, Frank Ntilikina's won the spot. He's won the spot. He should be the starter. I'm not discrediting you. I'm not saying he shouldn't. I'm just saying what you're saying. Frank Ntilikina, point guard, 6'7", 200 pounds. Played multiple positions on the floor. 5.3 points per game. Basically what his average is. That's Frank Ntilikina. Right? We know what Frank Ntilikina is on the offensive side of the floor. And it's changed a little bit. I will say that. It's changed a little bit coming into this preseason. He's a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more offensive-minded. He still does not have a touch. Still doesn't have a touch. 3.7 rebounds per game. 3 assists per game. 2.3 turnovers per game. Shooting 28.6% from the field. And 11.1% from 3. Now, with Dennis Smith Jr., you can look at it and say, you know what, this might change for Dennis Smith Jr. because he's done it in the past, right? He's changed those things in the past. Well, I don't want to say change. He's shot a better percentage in the past. Well, Frank Ntilikina hasn't really shot a better percentage in the past. You know, his first preseason in 2018, 2019, during the preseason, he actually shot really well. Right? In 2018, 2019, in the preseason, I'll say it again, Frank Ntilikina shot 45.2% from the field, 50% from 3. That was in the preseason. Right? This preseason, he's back to, you know, his normal numbers. You know, this is kind of what Frank Ntilikina is. So, at least up until this point of his career. Although he is the kind of guy that's going to be, you know, he's not worried about getting shots up. He's more worried about trying to facilitate the offense, making sure the ball moves, trying to get people in the right spots, organizing people, as Coach Fizdale likes to say. That's what Frank Ntilikina does. That's who Frank Ntilikina is. Right? Although offensively, he may not give you much offensively. There'll be some nights when he does, but he's not going to give you a lot offensively. He's not going to be too much of a threat, and he's not too much of a penetrator. So if you're going to use Frank Ntilikina, you better use a system that's going to have a lot of high screen and rolls. having guys come off double screens, sort of like you're seeing Atlanta do with Trae Young. Now, I'm not saying that Frank Ntilikina is going to all of a sudden be, dynamic like Trae Young. No. But if you want to try to get Frank Ntilikina more penetration or more looks inside that paint area where he can try to float the ball or he can have eyes to make passes, which he does, then you might want to use a couple of screens with Frank Ntilikina instead of this, dribble up to the sideline and then pass it to the big man up at the top of the key. But that's Frank Ntilikina for you. All right, now let's take a look at Elfrid Payton. He's the elder statesman of the point guards. Although he's still young, 25 years old, he's the elder statesman of the point guards. Elfrid Payton averaged 3.7 points per game in the preseason, 4.3 rebounds per game in the preseason, 3.7 assists per game in the preseason, 3 turnovers in the preseason. Then he shot 25% from the field and 20% from 3. So, there you go. That's Elfrid Payton's numbers. Now, listen. Every single one of these players, well, maybe not Frank Ntilikina. That's been what Frank Ntilikina does, right? But every single one of these players, you would expect that their numbers are going to go up. Their numbers are going to get better. Hopefully, Frank Ntilikina's does, right? Because Elfrid Payton he's had way better numbers than this in the past. All right, so you can't expect that it's going to stay this way the entire time. All right, Elfrid Payton. Let's look at Elfrid Payton in the past. We're gonna, forget about the preseason. We'll look at his regular season numbers, and we'll go back to last year and maybe even the year before. All right, Elfrid Payton's played for 3 teams in his career. He's played for the Orlando Magic, 4 teams now. I'm sorry, the Orlando Magic, the Phoenix Suns, and the Pelicans, and now the Knicks. Okay. In 2017 through 2018, he played for the Suns and he played for Orlando. He ended with averages of 12.7 points per game on 49% shooting and 32.6% from 3. Those were his averages at the end of the 2017-2018 season. Last year in New Orleans, he was at 10.6 points per game. He shot 43.4% from the field, 31.4% from 3. All right, let's talk about the assists. In 2017-18, he averaged 6.2 assists per game. 2018-19, 7.6 assists per game. I refuse to believe that he's fallen off so bad that he's not going to be able to match those averages again. All right, so I would expect that Elfrid Payton, if he's a starter, if he's getting 30 minutes a game, will be somewhere around 10 points, 7, 8 assists per game, 5, 6 rebounds per game, and then hopefully shooting between 43 and 45% from the field. All right, and 31, 32, 33% from 3. But looking at the numbers right now, and what these guys can do, it's very hard. It's got to be very hard for Fizdale to choose who's going to be the starting point guard. You're going to have to look beyond the numbers. You're going to really have to look at how the offense is running with these guys on and off the floor. Who's actually making the offense work on and off the floor. You know what I mean? That's really the only way that you're going to be able to do it, because the numbers are putrid. The numbers are terrible. These are really terrible basketball numbers when you're looking at the point guard spot. So what can you say? When the next, one of the next takeaways from the preseason is about Fizdale's offensive system. Right? That's the next takeaway, the offensive system. And so you got to ask the question, what is the new offensive system? And I want to relate this back to the point guards. Because if your point guards are playing the way that we just seen, right? If your point guards are playing in that manner, how do you expect to have an offensive system that is actually running, that is actually doing well for you? You got to have point guards that can run the show. Yeah, and from different aspects of the floor, you got to have point guards that can distribute the basketball, of course. You got to have point guards that can be a threat on the floor. Right? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. What is Coach Fizdale's offensive system? Because if the point guards don't have a system to run, well, then you can't expect much. Let's take a look at some of the numbers with Coach Fizdale's offense right now, the New York Knicks offense right now. Let's take a look at some of these numbers. The Knicks are shooting 42.1% from the field in the preseason. That's not going to get it done, ladies and gentlemen. Now, they shot much better last night versus the Pelicans. I think versus the Pelicans last night, there was about 47% from the field. All right, so, we can... Listen, you can obviously live with that all day long if they're going to shoot 47% from the field. And maybe last night was the turnaround point. The first game and the second game of the season, of the preseason, they shot very well. So maybe last night was the game that's going to turn them around. They shot 47.3% last night. They shot 39.4% from the three-point line last night. All right. On the preseason, they're averaging 34.1% from the three-point line. Let's hope that they can get up to about 37, 38% from the three-point line as a team. Assists, they average 22.8 assists per game. I think that's like 26th in the league. In all three of these categories, they're near the bottom. Okay, and then they're near the top in turnovers at 17.5 turnovers per game. So that's what's going on with the Knicks right now. So those two things are two big takeaways coming out of the preseason: the point guard battle and the Knicks offensive system. Those are two huge storylines coming out of preseason that we just don't have a take on at the moment. We don't have a take on who's going to be the point guard. We'll see what Fizdale is going to decide, and it may not be until the last minute that he comes to a decision. And then, of course, the offensive system. It may take a little bit of time for this offensive system to come together. If there's a system, I've seen more actions. I've seen more plays. I've still seen a lot of ISO. I've still seen a lot of dead time on offense is what I like to call it. Dead time where the ball is just in one spot, not going anywhere. Nothing is happening. Everyone's standing around looking at the ball handler trying to figure out what they're going to do. I've seen a lot of dead time in the offense, and that's not what we want. If you watched the Pelicans offense last night, you have a good idea with when I say you need pace and patience. You get a very good idea what I mean about pace and patience when you watch that Pelicans offense. Because the ball would zip around the perimeter. You find it inside. Guys are moving without the basketball. The ball is moving. Not many times do you see somebody standing still with the basketball in their hands. Right? That's pace and patience. Pace and patience. You know what I'm saying? Moving the basketball. The ball is moving with velocity, moving with speed. Players are cutting and moving with velocity and speed. Sharp cuts, good screens. 3, 4, 5 passes, and then the shot goes up. Right? But those 3, 4, 5 passes doesn't take 18 seconds off the shot clock. Those 3, 4, 5 passes, you get it done in 6, 7 seconds. Right? That's good pace. Really good pace. So I want to know what you guys think about those two right there. Those two takeaways. Still no bona fide point guard, in my opinion. Still no bona fide point guard. And if you don't have a bona fide point guard, it's going to be very hard for you to have a good, strong offensive system because you need someone to run it. But you've got to have an offensive system for these guys to run, for your point guards to run. You got to have a system for them to run. And I don't see anything structured. I don't see any kind of structured system from Coach Fizdale. You know, I still see the read and react stuff that he's talked about since last season, which is cool. It's great. You know what I'm saying? It's cool and great when you have the players that can do it. Right? When you have the players that are smart enough to execute a read and react system, then you know what? You can go ahead and do it all you want. But when you don't have those players, you might be looking for trouble, ladies and gentlemen. So one last time, let's take a quick look at these point guard numbers one last time, and then we'll go on and have a good discussion about it. So again, Dennis Smith Jr., 6.5 points per game. 5.5 rebounds a game, 4.5 assists per game, 3 turnovers a game, shooting 17% from the field, 17% from three. All right, that's Dennis Smith Jr. Frank Ntilikina, 5.5 points per game, 3.7 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, 2.3 turnovers per game, shooting 28.6% from the field and 11.1% from three. Then you got Elfrid Payton, 3.7 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, 3.7 assists per game, 3 turnovers per game, shooting 25% from the field and 20% from three. Right? And then, of course, you got Coach Fizdale's offensive system, which many of us agree there's not much of an offensive system. He's shooting the team is shooting 42.1% from the field, 34.1% from three. They average 22.8 assists per game and 17.5 turnovers per game. Right? And I seen someone say that, those 17.5 turnovers, that's not a lot. You know what? It's kind of, you much rather be towards 13 turnovers a game or something like that. 17.5 turnovers per game. I think that was 4th in the league for the preseason. The 4th highest total, the 4th highest percentage of turnovers per game in the preseason. All right, so that's a good number of turnovers, ladies and gentlemen. It's not too crazy, and it can very well get better. It can very well get better. So, obviously, this is a team who, on the offensive side of the ball, they're trying to get acclimated to one another. All right. And yes, the Knicks were 5th in turnovers. The Washington Wizards, well, I guess it's not too bad. It could be worse. But when you think about the fact that the Knicks are only averaging 22.8 assists per game, it makes it worse. The Knicks could be somewhere around, 18, 19, 20 turnovers per game. Hopefully with our point guards playing and getting a little bit better, and when we really get into the season and we start to get more acclimated to each other, we could be somewhere around 13, 14 turnovers per game, and hopefully we get up 25, 26 assists per game. But this is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we are. All right. This is where we are. And actually, AKA, you're right. Okay, I'll give you that. It's not too bad for a new team, 17.5. Not too bad. All right, maybe I was a little bit dramatic on that front. I'll give it to you. I was Mark on that front. I was who's Mark on the turnover front. Dramatic. You know what I mean? But let's get to these fellas, man. I want to find, what do you guys see so far? I've heard what you guys think about the point guard spot already. You know what I'm saying? But I want you to go ahead and talk to me again about it. All right. Andy, 1 second. Not yet. Go ahead, Andy. That point guard spot, man. You see the numbers. Hopefully, you were looking at the stats.
I need a chair like yours, man. My back starts hurting when I don't have the.
No, it's over that. Andy, go ahead.
Yes, and where from the stats, it's for me, it's a small sample size. We know it's preseason. The team is no lack of chemistry and stuff like that. But still, if I had to choose a guy from the number standpoint, I'd still go with Frank because his numbers, let's maybe call not were better than the other guys, but at least they didn't fall off like from last season. Meanwhile, Dennis Smith's numbers and Alfred Payton's, they're down. But I think, of course, when the season comes and they're going to get more minutes, it's going to, the number's going to go up for sure because I don't imagine they're going to be on NBA teams with those numbers. But to say about the point guard situation, for me, it's a no-brainer to pick from these preseason games. It should be Frank. My gut tells me that before the preseason games, I was sure Alfred's going to be the starting one, but the preseason I think messed up in his heads the situation for him even. Dennis Smith, for me, he shouldn't be even on this team, man. I really like Knicks players and stuff like that, and I root for them. But Dennis Smith Jr. is just not my kind of point guard that I would like to play with. If I was the coach, that I would like my point guard to have those attributes as the playmaker and stuff like that. So for me, the situation would be clear. You got to go with Frank and try to ride it out if it's and I don't think if you had the stat, but I think he had the best plus minus, of course, from the point guards, but I'm not sure if it wasn't even for the whole team. So.
Okay, let me see. Frank Ntilikina's plus minus. Let's see what Frank Ntilikina's plus minus was in the preseason.
Miguel, I'm going to let someone in because there's a new guy, so you can mute him.
Frank Ntilikina's plus minus in the preseason was 3. All right, so
what's that?
Plus 3 with him in the And can you do me a favor? When you get a chance, just remind the guys when they come in. Don't come in talking. Come in and put their, immediately put themselves on mute.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Because they come in saying something, and then it comes right in. They got to put themselves on mute. Until put themselves on mute for about 30 seconds, and then they'll be good. But yeah, so Frank Ntilikina right now seems to be the consensus from a lot of fans. But looking at things politically, do you think?
Well, when you're talking politics, I'm not sure if you saw, but Berman wrote something about Payton, that Payton was, when negotiating the contract, he was told that basically he had a huge chance to be the starting point guard.
Right.
So when you're talking politics, you got to get that in account, because if he's going to be the third point guard after these couple of games, and he's going to have to wait like 5-10 games to get a chance to be on the floor. That might be not a good thing for the team chemistry and in the locker rooms.
Yeah. And then of course a report came out from Ian Begley that already there's some rumblings about playing time in the locker room. That's not.
I think that might be for Isozo because I think he's the guy that probably deserved to play. From the bench guys that didn't get minutes, I think he deserved it the most, and he didn't get burned. So I think that might be him, and I think that they how media goes. I think they didn't want to single one guy out, so they just did it in plural. So more guys were getting involved.
Yeah. We'll see what's up. Isaiah, I'm coming to you, man. Isaiah's not ready because he looks like he's frozen. Are you? Okay. Isaiah, what's going on, man? Isaiah.
Feels like I'm
Man, this guy, I ain't coming to Isaiah no more. I'm gonna let him work. Guillermo, I'm coming to you.
Yo,
What's going on, man? So the point guard spot, you're with Frank Ntilikina as well. You think he
it has to
won
be, man.
hands down?
DSJ, there was one play that was indicative of how little he's come in terms of progress. You know what I mean? It was a pick and roll with Mitch, and Mitch went into he kind of cut to the basket, right? And it was like one of those plays where you kind of have to thread the needle. It was an instinctual play, cerebral play, and DSJ couldn't make it, and he just pulled up and he started to dribble around near the perimeter to kind of and it's nothing against him. He has to find a way to change his game up. That I'm not saying he's going to go to D League or whatever, but he has to find a way. Because look, you saw how he played yesterday. He couldn't facilitate really well. He had a few defensive stops, right? He showed some effort on that end. But, his shooting, he made 1 3, but his shooting form is just still not there. It's herky-jerky where his lower body comes forward and then his upper body comes, it's like he's pushing the ball. He reminds me of Wilson Chandler when he got it, even though Wilson Chandler's form was way worse. But, I just don't see it. And I think that if you give me a player like Frank who can at the very least shut down that other team's backcourt. And look, defense can turn to offense. We've seen it with Rondo. We've seen it with some of the best defensive players when they get the steals. They can stop another team's backcourt. They get the momentum on their side. A lot of possessions last night, that kid, I don't know, it's not Jackson. It's the other guy who looks like Jackson. He has like a long name on his, I can't remember his name. Thank you, Devon. Nikhil Alexander Walker, whatever his name is. He was killing us with threes. Imagine putting Frank in there against that kid. Maybe he takes away 1 or 2 threes, and this is a whole different ball game.
Right,
You know what I mean? So
let me ask you this.
Yep.
What gives you Frank over Elfrid Payton?
I think Frank plays better defense than Elfrid at this point. As much as I like Frank Elfrid as a floor point guard. Mm-hmm. I'd rather go with, because Frank still has high upside, right? You know what I mean? If Frank can translate what we all want from FIBA and he hit those threes, because let's be honest, Elfrid can't shoot. There are many plays last night where the defense kind of sagged off him, and if he was able to shoot, he can shoot. I'm not saying Frank's a great shooter, but Frank at least has some potential to be able to be a plus shooter. Not, 45% from there. I'm not saying that. But if Frank can play a little bit like how he did in FIBA, where he was taking shots aggressively, in front of defense's face and making those, that's a big boom for us. As much as I like Elfrid as a floor,
okay.
but, Frank can give you that.
So you think that Elfrid, going into the season, you think Frank is going to shoot a better percentage than Elfrid Payton? I mean, historically,
yes.
Elfrid Payton is 43-44% from the field.
Right, but that's also counting layups. Take the layups out and stuff like that. What's that percentage with the shots?
I mean, but that's going to be everybody else too. Really, when you talk about Elfrid Payton, right? It's really the 3-point shot that brings his percentage down. When you talk about Elfrid Payton, right? When you look for his career, so look, hold up. When you look for his career, right? Okay, he's 40 with the Pelicans. He was 43% last year. He shot 33.3% from 3. Okay, that was with the Pelicans. I'm sorry, hold up, wait a minute. That's the wrong stat. That was preseason. Let me get to the regular season. So last year with the Pelicans, he was 43.4% from the field, 31.4% from 3. The season before that, he was 49% from the field and 32.6% from 3.
But also, Sim, do you remember how he used to play? Remember he was with the Magic? When the reason why his percentage is that high, because he's probably less of a facilitator back then. This guy was a guy who would, come at you. He's going to drive to the basket and finish. And I'm not saying he's not a good finisher. He is he's a decent finisher. But again, we're talking about shooting. And if we're talking about a guy with higher upside, I'm still going to take Frank, because Frank has improved that, at least from what we've seen. Anecdotally, we don't have a bunch of stats to say that. But he's shown that in FIBA. He's shown that he can finish. Even this season, this preseason, where I think it was last game, we had a fairly strong layup. I can't remember who it was. I mean, I know it's one example here and there. But again, Sim, when we're looking at this NBA is basically geared towards really talented backcourts and dynamic threes.
You need a guy, and I'm sorry, Elfrid Payton is known as a defensive player, but in these past few preseason games, I haven't really seen him really shut down a lot of these backcourts. Frank Ntilikina basically rewrote the script for how the Hawks had to play. Imagine that being that coming from at the very least the second quarter.
Tell me how he did that. Tell me how he did that, and also remember that Elfrid Payton didn't play in that game. But tell me how.
No, but he played last night though.
I know, but he didn't play against Trae Young, right? So tell me how Frank Ntilikina rewrote the script on how to play against Trae Young.
Well, look where they're trapping Trae Young, right? And I was screaming this in the chat room.
But was that?
I'm trying to tell you, Sim.
I know. Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say when Frank was defending him up top, I don't know, maybe that was Fizdale telling him, but I don't know why you did in the fourth quarter. But the way that he was playing him versus how DSJ or anybody else was playing him, they were giving Trae Young space. That's why Trae Young had so much space to operate after the pick and roll. Because after the point guard would guard him, then the center would drop off, and they were trying to challenge him to, hey, shoot that little 2-point shot, whatever. Either way, he's going to either keep drilling, make that little floater, or pass to the right guy. You can't allow Trae Young to operate off the pick and roll. Frank Ntilikina was not allowing him to breathe off. He wasn't even allowing him to get into the pick and roll set. That's the whole point. He was disrupting him before he was even able to get the big guy on. That's why when they were trapping up top, guys like Randle, and who's not a good defender, and I can't remember who else, they were basically able to recover because it's like the big man, they were trailing their big man who was trying to set the pick, but Frank wasn't even allowing that pick to happen. So it was like, all right, now Randle could come up. And once the big man drops off, if Trae Young doesn't make that pass, now he's with Frank and Randle who can trap him up top. That doesn't happen all the time. I'm not saying Payton can't do it, but Frank is a lot more active in doing that. And also because he's 6'7", his wingspan, try to make that pass. Even look at the out of bounds pass they try to make to Trae Young. Frank stole that with ease. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that Payton is not good. I still like Payton as your floor point guard. Look, if Frank is just absolutely sucking, I want Payton to play. I'm not saying that. But Frank can give you facilitation plus defense. And if Fizdale doesn't do that stuff he did last year where he was taking him in and out of the lineup, or what Hornacek was doing, making him a 1, then making him a 2, then taking him out the line because he's not playing good as a 2. If you allow Frank to operate at the 1, yes, he's going to go through his growth spurts where he's not shooting well, he's not being as aggressive as you want him to be. But this is a kid who works off of confidence, off of defense. And at the very least, if he's not scoring, if that other team is not scoring, we can have closer games. Imagine Frank being in that Hawks game in the third quarter or playing most of that game, and Trae Young is not able to get in a rhythm. Trae Young killed us because he was able to facilitate, he's able to score off the floater, take half of that production, and the Knicks win by 6, 7, 8 points? You know what I mean? So this is a team, we don't have the shooters yet because Bullock and Dotson, whatever, come back from the injuries. They're not fully healthy. We don't have knockdown shooters like that. Ellington, he is what he is. He's a decent shooter, but he's not going to give you a high percentage every game. This is a Knicks team that we have to grind them out every single game. It's going to be a Knicks team where we have to play stout defense, and we have to play off a rhythm. You have to play off guys off the pick and roll. And you need a guys to defend. We don't have the Warriors offense. We don't have that. So give me Frank, let him play that defense, and let the guys play around. Mitchell Robinson can also play a better defense with Frank there, because now you don't have a guy like last year when we had Cantor. Frank Ntilikina looked bad because a lot of times Cantor didn't commit on the pick and roll defense. You know what I mean? So I just like the rhythm that we have with Frank defending, and he can facilitate. You give me those two, he's better than DSJ, and he has a higher floor, higher upside than Elfrid Payton. So
okay, all right. I mean, I'm just what I was saying about Elfrid Payton, as far as the trapping with Trae Young is. We don't. Frank Ntilikina. As far as the trapping with Trae Young, we don't know if that was Frank or if that was what they designed, in a timeout or whatever, to say, okay, this is what we need to do. Obviously, Frank was able to execute, right? I'm pretty sure that Elfrid Payton would have been able to execute too. I've seen some pretty good defense from Elfrid Payton in this preseason as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not taking that away from him.
He did an excellent job on Ish Smith, one of the fastest guards in the league, keeping him out the paint. Pressured him coming up 94 feet, putting pressure on him going 94 feet. We've seen the same thing from Frank Ntilikina as well. So
Ish Smith is not Trae Young, Tim. Ish Smith is not Trae Young, and I know I like Ish Smith.
We didn't even see Elfrid Payton against Trae Young, so we don't know. As a matter of fact, it could have worked better because they're the same height and he's small and he can move his feet a little bit faster. We don't know. We didn't even see him against Trae Young.
And we saw, but hold up, Sim, can I say this one thing? I know you got to go to other people. We saw Payton yesterday, right? We saw him against guys like Lonzo Ball, Frank Jackson,
And Lonzo Ball, I don't really care for this kid. The kid was making threes early on against Peyton, correct? I'm not saying Frank would not do the same thing, but you're letting Lonzo Ball, who just found his shot, to hit 2 threes.
Okay.
Versus Frank Ntilikina shut down Trae Young, who's probably going to be one of the more premier point guards in his league.
I don't know.
I'm just saying. I know it's apples and kiwis.
But then against the Wizards, Frank Ntilikina gave some open threes too. Against the Wizards in the second game. I mean, I'm just trying to look at it objectively, and just figuring out why Frank Ntilikina over Elfrid Payton, because I feel like Elfrid Payton is going to shoot a higher percentage from the field, most likely. Based on history, I feel like he's probably going to shoot a higher percentage from the field. I guess we're going to find out soon enough. I don't know if they're going to announce that, if David Fizdale is going to announce that point guard spot anytime soon. They'll probably wait until the day before the game. What's that, October 22nd, to announce that point guard spot. But I think there's going to be a point of contention throughout the season. I don't think it's going to be one. I think it's going to be like last season. I really do. Unless someone's going to have to really step up and really take the reins, I feel like it's going to be like last season all over again, which to me.
So can you answer this question, Sim? Where does DSJ fit then? Because I haven't heard you say much in terms of like how you feel on DSJ.
I mean, honestly,
I don't know where he fits.
I don't know, because I know that they're probably going to be dedicated to Dennis Smith Jr. because of the whole Kristaps Porzingis trade. So they're going to want that to be successful so that they don't look crazy in the KP trade, right? That shouldn't really factor in, but it's going to factor in. What I've seen early, I'm trying to be really objective because I know that he's coming off the back injury, which bothers me. He played those 2 preseason games, maybe has to get into rhythm, whatever. Right. But what I don't like still is, okay, so I was watching the game earlier, right? And I seen Elfrid Payton dribble hard to the left. I don't remember if he spun or put it behind his back, but maybe put it behind his back, and then Bobby Portis cut to the basket, boom, and he found him, right? That's a play that I don't think Dennis Smith Jr. would have done or been able to do. Being able to, make a move and have your eyes up to make the pass at the same time. Dennis Smith Jr. kind of puts his head down and goes to the basket. He can kick it out, but, something like that, I'm not sure he would have done. Elfrid Payton is looking to do those things. That is the type of point guard that I like. He's a little more crafty when he goes to the rim. Like Dennis Smith Jr. is exploding to the rim, just looking to get in there. I'm not saying looking to dunk every time, but looking to go in and get his bucket. Elfrid Payton is getting in. He's still on his feet, and he's looking for a way to find someone, get somebody the basketball, find somebody in a good position. I'm just not, I want to give him the chance. I don't think it's in his nature to be that kind of a guy. And so it's going to depend on what Fizdale wants to do. What type of system are you trying to run? Is it going to be attacking? Do you want a crafty point guard that's really going to be able to get everybody else involved besides just going to the basket and kicking it out? That right now I see that's what Dennis Smith Jr. is best at, just going to the basket and kicking it out instead of really being crafty and finding guys, because he's able to fake this way, and make it happen this way, or even create offense without it being a set, but he just understands how to play the game, so he can put this guy here, this guy here, this guy here, and say, now you come here and set the screen, and when I come off, I'm able to find this guy this way or that way. I see Elfrid Payton being able to do that way more than Dennis Smith Jr. I'm not sure if Frank is able to do that sort of thing right now, because I don't know if he has the confidence enough to demand and command the guys that's out there. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see how that goes, man. Davon, I'm gonna come to you, man.
What's up, Sam?
What's going on with you, brother? How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good. How you been?
I'm good. So,
can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear. Oh. So what's your take on the point guard thing, man, right now?
No. Can you hear me now, Sam?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay, yeah. Personally, I think, honestly, the starter should be Frank right now, as of today, break it all the way down for you though. I think he should start the season. Start the season with DSJ coming back from the injury. Just let him come back slowly. Don't force him. Force him back too quickly, and then I like Frank and I like DSJ. Alfred Payton, honestly, if all of these guys were in their same years playing, I think Alfred Payton should be the starter, honestly, because like you said, he can shoot. He probably is the best shooter out of all of them, which kind of sucks because he can't really shoot that good either.
I know, right? That's pretty bad. As a matter of fact, in the preseason from three, he's shooting 20% in the preseason from three, which is better than all of our point guards.
Right. So I think he, besides like yearly, like timing wise, I don't think Alfred Payton should be the starter, but I think you should give it to Frank and tell Frank, have Alfred Payton kind of like, Frank can be an Alfred Payton type of point guard, just trying to get him get a little bit more aggressive, get to the basket. He's a good passer. He's a good defender. If he can rebound like Alfred Payton can, then I don't see why not, why Frank shouldn't be the starter. But long term throughout the season, I think DSJ will get the start just because, like politics, just for the simple fact that we traded Porzingis for him. He has to get his time. But I think we should start the season off with Frank, see what he can get, see what he can do, especially since see if we're going to pick up his option or not. I know we're going to pick up DSJ's option for sure. So see if we're going to pick up that option, give him a couple, burns before the 31st. I think that's when the deadline is. Give him some burn before the 31st to see what he can really do. You know what I mean? We'll see if the FIBA thing was just a FIBA thing, or if he can really translate that to the NBA.
Or if he's going to get traded.
Yeah, or traded, you know what I mean? Or traded, So I don't know. I don't feel like either of these guys are the long-term solution at point guard. I think, Frank, he can play multiple positions, so he is, a good asset to have on the team, and his defense is stellar. But just DSJ right now and his back injury and his shooting, what was it, 11% you showed? That's terrible. I don't care how bad what injury you're coming off of. Shooting 11%
he was
is
shooting
not it.
No, Frank was shooting 11%. Dennis Smith Jr. Frank was shooting 11% from three, 28% from the field. Dennis Smith Jr. shooting 17% from the field, 17% from three.
Oh, well, 17-11, that's terrible. Same thing. So I think, Alfred Payton did get 5 consecutive triple doubles last year. That's hard to do. So, we know he can ball. We know he can, but with the shooting that we have in our for sure starters with Randle, RJ, and Morris, I think those will probably be the 3 for sure starters throughout the season. I think we should just go all defense and just let go Frank, RJ, Morris, Randle, and Mitchell. That's going to be our best defensive lineup that we can put out there. And then on the second team, we can kind of put out a more fast-paced, youth offense with DSJ, Trier, Knox, Bobby Portis, and I guess you leave one of the starters in, whoever else you want to bring in, keep in as a starter, from the starting unit to roll off the bench. I think that would be the best way to kind of even things out. Just go all defense to start the game off, to see what we can do with the defense and see how much, pressure we can put on the other team's offense, and then, bring in that more youth lineup. And that youth lineup will be great too, because all of those guys should be here for the, foreseeable future, and get those guys some time, playing together.
All right. I'm going to come back to you guys. I'm going to take a couple of phone calls. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to come to Isaiah, then I'm going to come to Roz. But I'm going to get to a couple of phone calls, all right? Caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's poppin'?
Hello.
What's going on with you, brother? How you feeling?
I'm good. This is Peter from Belize. There's like 3 ways that we can look at this right now. Basically, what are the Knicks right now? Are we a team that we feel is on the cusp of the playoffs, or just a team that's going to be in the lottery next year? If we are conceding that we're a lottery team, then we have to try to develop what we have. I would start Frank, because Frank is one of the best defensive players on the team, and then put DSJ more as that sixth man along with Trier coming off the bench to give us that spark plug in scoring. Now, if we feel that we are a playoff team, basically then we need to go out and trade for a point guard. New Orleans could probably have a situation where they have Lonzo Ball and they have Drew Holiday. Do we try and trade for Drew Holiday and bring him in? And then after that, you have to ask yourself, are we, not only would we be a playoff team then, but will we be attractive enough to attract free agents to come to New York? Is that a good enough team, like when a Giannis is available 2 years from now to come to New York? So we have to ask ourselves, what are we trying to do? Win now and become attractive to get free agents down the road in 2 years? If not, then we just have to continue to develop what we have. And I feel the best player to go with starting would be Frank. If we're trying to be a playoff team, we got to trade, and I would say Drew Holiday.
I think that they're trying to win as much as they can now, but not have to try to make a trade for Drew Holiday or something like that. Now, here's the thing: I don't think that the Pelicans are going to be looking to trade Drew Holiday, right? Because although you have Lonzo Ball and you have Drew Holiday on the floor, size-wise it works because Lonzo Ball is like 6'7", and Drew Holiday is 6'4", right? So it still works. It's like having Dennis Smith Jr. and Frank Ntilikina on the floor, right? So I think it still works size-wise. And Drew Holiday is more of a guy that can score the basketball, where Lonzo Ball is willing to be a passer, even though he's 6'7". So I think it works having those two guys out there.
But then the reason why, the reason why I bring up the Pelicans, not necessarily that we played them last night, but because we see a guy in Alexander that's a potential a player on the rise for them. Where does Alexander be in all the mix? Is he going to continue to be a guy coming off the bench, or will they try to free up some cap space and then make Alexander be the next shooting guard for the Pelicans? That makes Drew Holiday expendable with his contract, but it's a very cap friendly contract. $26 million this year, $26 the following year with a player option, and he may opt out to try and test the market, which is when Giannis is expected to be on the market as well. So it's not a bad contract for Drew Holiday, but because they have that scenario with Alexander rising, they may want to try and pull a trade.
Okay, I get what you're saying. I understand that. I definitely get what you're saying. I think the Pelicans, and I think rightfully so, believe that they're going to be a playoff or close to a playoff team. I think they're going to try to keep Drew Holiday around because I think they probably feel like. But I get what you're saying, and not even just in the fact that it's Drew Holiday. I understand what you're saying, that maybe they need to, if they feel like they're a playoff team, they need to make a move for a point guard, a legitimate point guard that's going to help them get to the playoffs.
Now, the next thing would be, who do we trade from the Knicks? Now, that's the other side. Now, will we develop Kevin Knox, or is Kevin Knox going to be somebody that's going to get lost on the bench? That is what I want to know. Apart from the point guard situation, what is the future of Kevin Knox on this team? Are we going to develop him, or are we going to use him as trade bait down the road? I'm still not sure what the Knicks want to do with Kevin Knox as yet. I think he deserves playing time. He has talent, but I don't know what they want to do with him.
I think with Kevin Knox, I think the future for Kevin Knox is at power forward. I think he might be able to go and play between the 3 and the power forward. But remember, Marcus Morris, I don't believe is going to be here next season. He's not going to be a long-term guy for the Knicks. And I think the idea is to develop Kevin Knox and then slide him into that spot. And R.J. Barrett, and what R.J. Barrett has shown so far in the preseason, he's going to be able to do some things in the NBA, be in at that 2 spot. That's what I think they're looking at long term. So I think that would be where Kevin Knox probably fits in. And if you're still going to have Julius Randle, then you got Julius Randle at the 4, Kevin Knox at the 3, Julius Randle at the 4. If you don't, Kevin Knox can still move to that 4 spot, and R.J. Barrett can move to the 3 spot, and then you can find a 2 spot because R.J. Barrett can play some 3 as well. He showed that last night.
So what that does is that it answers the question that we are not a playoff team, and we're going to have to find one of our 3-point guards to develop. And I think it is Frank. Frank does it on both ends of the floor. He has similar numbers to DSJ. So I would go with Frank, develop Kevin Knox, and then we just try to see if we can get into the playoffs next year. But other than that, if we're going to try and push for it, then we have to trade. But I do agree, Kevin Knox is our future, but that means we may have to give up the season and try to go with the lottery again.
I think Kevin Knox, RJ Barrett, I think both of those guys are definitely a big part of the future. Got to find a point guard that's going to be part of the future. See if one of these guys can develop or not. We don't know yet. We're going to see coming this season. But I think that they have enough to, even while you're developing Kevin Knox, because I think he's in a good situation having to come off the bench for this season. To learn. He didn't get a chance to do that last season. He was kind of thrust out there, which is not a bad thing either. But, certain players can do it, certain players can't. I think that you can still kind of develop Kevin Knox and bring him along and still be trying to fight for that eighth seed. Because if you're going to make a trade for a point guard, right, it's going to be one of those, is going to be some of those guys from that point guard position, and maybe Marcus Morris, right? Because he's on a contract that could be very tradable for a team, if a point guard comes available that you think can help you now and in the future. So Kevin Knox, I think, will still be in the mix regardless. I think that the Knicks are going to make a decision on where they're going. I think their first 2 months of the season, they're going to try to win as many games as possible. And the first 2 months of the season is going to be tough for the Knicks because they have a really rough stretch from November to December. I think they're going to try to win games. I think you can see it in the preseason, right? They put rotation guys out there. They didn't even play the end of the bench guys or the guys that are looking for spots in the NBA or in Westchester. They didn't even play them. Iggy touched the floor for what? A couple of minutes in game 2 or something? They didn't even play those guys. I think, they're looking to try to win, and that's why you've seen rotation guys playing throughout the preseason. So it's going to be tough because you definitely need that point guard out there if you want to win. And right now, no one's established themselves as a bona fide point guard for the future. So it's making the task difficult, man. Making it difficult.
Well, I do feel that I agree with you, but Frank has to be that guy. Frank. Starting at point, and then you bring DSJ off the bench.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hey, I appreciate the call.
Go Yankees. Man. All right.
Go Yankees there. All right.
All right.
Appreciate the call, man.
All right, my brother. Peace.
Even though I am a Mets fan, but I still want the Yankees to get to be in the World Series so that they can go against the Nats, because the Nationals are a rival of the Mets. But anyway, get to another call. Caller, you on live with the Knicks. What's poppin'?
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Hello? She'll call back. She'll call back. We got another call, ladies and gentlemen. Call in 516-405-2246. You want to call in? I want to get your take. I want to get your idea. I want to know what you think about the preseason. What are your takeaways from the preseason? You know what I'm saying? And no, Ralph on Real, a Mets fan, M-E-T-S, not a Nats fan. I said I want the Yankees to be in the World Series so that they can face off against the Nationals, since the Nationals are a rival of the New York Mets. That's what I'm saying. You said I was born with mediocrity. Hey, man. Hey, when I started watching baseball, I don't watch it that much, but when I did, the Mets were, the Mets were the Mets in the 80s, 86. You know what I'm saying? Darryl Strawberry, Lenny Dykstra, and those guys. You know what I mean? Call you on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's poppin'?
Hey, Sam, how you doing? It's JP.
Hey, what's up, JP? How you feeling?
I'm doing all right. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you good.
Okay, because I'm actually out. What are you guys talking about now?
We were talking about the point guard battle. Who should start at the point guard battle? We're
okay, good. So that so I have a question. So I mean, we've seen all the games, right? Have you read the that they've been saying about how it's possible that the front office promised the starting job to Elfrid Payton?
Yes. Yep.
Now, as we can see, neither point guard has played to the point that they could say they've gotten the job outright, right? But what I can say is, well, let me see. Dennis Smith Jr., he's been injured, so he looked better than he did on Wednesday. But let's say he was still bothered in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. I believe that Frank has outplayed Elfrid. So if that situation had played out, how would you feel if they automatically gave the position to Elfrid? And let's say, or at least they had it where it was Dennis Smith Jr., Elfrid, and then Frank. Even if Frank outplayed Elfrid, how would you feel about that?
I wouldn't be happy at all.
The thing is, I remember I called a couple of months ago and I said that whatever plays out with Frank would be an indictment on the front office, no matter how you feel about him as a player. And I say that as a general thing because I think a lot of the fact that the Knicks can't get players to come here is they see how, the front office treats their own players. So I know a lot of people don't like Frank, so he's a divisive player, so we're kind of split on him. But from a general standpoint, I think it sends a wrong message that you can work hard and still not get any, get a fair shot. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Elfrid Payton because I don't like the fact that, the GM being Perry could come here and, just sign his reclamation project from Orlando. But yet still, there's players on this team that deserve, a better shot. Namely Frank, So I just want to know, how do you as an organization talk about keep what you kill and all this nonsense when you still have all these when you have all this politics? That's a bad precedent when you have a bunch of young players watching everything that you do, and they're going to hold on to every single word that the front office says. Yeah. So if you know for a fact that Elfrid Payton is not playing well, but yet still he's getting all these minutes, it's not going to work. If I know for a fact that I got promised a job, there's no reason for me to work hard. He looks like trash, and I don't care what it is. What is his name? See, for real, you haven't heard from him in weeks. I haven't heard no Elfrid or Wall Street nonsense. This is the reason why they want him on the team. And you want to talk about not, re-signing Frank? Listen, at the end of the day, for Payton signed 16 for $60 million, $8 million this year, $8 million next year. What I would do is I would pick up price option. His option for next year is $6.1 million. $6.1 million is less than $8 million. There you go. Get rid of Alfred because he's not that good. There's a reason why he's been on 4 different teams. I don't want to hear it. So what do you think is going to happen? Because I think they're going to give it to Dennis Smith Jr., which I can't really be upset about because, he's Dennis Smith Jr. and they gave up a lot. He's the key piece to the
that's
key
the
piece
one.
to the.
Yeah, that's the one big thing, right? I kind of feel like they're going to start it with Dennis Smith Jr. And, I'm going to tell you last night, today, when I was watching the game today, and in that fourth quarter, it was Dennis Smith Jr., Alonzo Trier, R.J. Barrett at the 3, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. They looked pretty good together, right? Defensively,
they did, yes.
They looked good defensively together. Offensively, the pace was moving a little bit faster. I don't know what Fizdale is going to do. I would think that we would see that line up some. I kind of agree that I think he's going to start off with Dennis Smith Jr., even though he's coming off injury, simply because of the politics of it. I think it's going to play a role into it. You know what I mean? I think he's going to start off. I think that Frank Ntilikina is going to play. A lot of people had kind of written him off and thought that he wasn't going to play, and he was going to be the third guy off the bench. I think Frank Ntilikina is going to play, and he's going to play between 3 different positions. You know what I mean? But I think he's going to be out there playing. He might always be at the point guard spot, but I think he's going to play.
Okay, so I also have one more question. So I understand that it looks as if like whoever our guard is going to be is not on the roster. I believe I think with the Worldwide, when he called a couple days ago, he had an awesome call. But I understand that our point guards are limited, but I still think that Fizdale is not doing a good job as far as making things easier for them, because it's quite obvious that he's not calling any plays. You can't expect these young guys to come in here and know what to do. You have to call plays for them. Yeah. You have to have an offensive system. You know for a fact that, okay, like any job, everybody brings something different to the table. So you got to put everyone in a situation where they can utilize their strengths. You have to find some offensive playbook or something. They look slow out there last night, in my opinion.
I agree with you. They've got to find something, because they don't look slow. They are a slow team. They don't get up and down the floor like I thought that they would. So they played better than they did on Wednesday, but they still look slow. Yeah, like something's not right.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but
they're a slow team.
The thing, I know the front office wants to be the kind of front office that doesn't meddle, but if you notice that, I mean, as the GM or even the president, is it bad to just give some kind of idea? Like, you don't want to step on the coach at all. At the same time, if you know for a fact that he's not doing something, can you just say, is it possible for you to run different type of sets? It's kind of weird because we don't want to have that reputation.
Right. But I feel. Is it okay? Is it okay for the front office to kind of give him some kind of ideas where they're not stepping on his toes, or is that such a bad thing? As a coach yourself, is it okay for somebody to be like, Sim, like, can you check this out, or maybe this should work? Right. See, I feel like this, and this is the way that I operate within my AAU system, right? Now, and I go out and I try to find players. I know how I want to play basketball. I know my philosophy behind playing basketball. My assistant coaches also know the philosophy behind playing basketball. But it's not that I give it to my assistant coaches. We sit down and we talk about how we want to play, what's the best way for us to play, and then we all know what we want to do as a team, and then we go out and we find players. We look for players. And I think it should be the same
last year he can argue that, oh, okay, I didn't have my players. But you would think that they sat down and they discussed this as a front office, and they're like, okay, I want this type of player, this type of player, this type of player. So you would be asking for these players for a reason, because you would have some kind of idea as far as the system is concerned.
Exactly.
So he can't give you this excuse, but he don't have the players. Because you brought these players in thinking that they should fit into something, I assume, right?
Right, and that's
there has to be some kind of direction. I can't go through another season where, you know, I'm all well in the young guys growing and the mixture of the veterans, but if anything we've learned, we have to be able to come out of this year with some kind of offensive system or defensive system or both. If we don't establish either one, it's a failure to me.
Yes, and what should be happening is Scott Perry, Steve Mills, David Fisdale, and I hope it's happening. They should be discussing way before the season starts.
It better be happening.
Season, they should be strategizing. This is how we want to play basketball. And so now that they're all on the same page, then you can trust that they're going out there and finding the players that you need. And then
because if he's not utilizing these young men well, then at some point, I don't want to say it because one of the issues, I think the big top issue is that they always changing the coach. But you have to find a coach that's able to deal with these young players. Because then he's wasting their time, he's wasting our time. Like, the system has to be established. I'm not going to sit there and watch these Knicks games and have them running around like with a chicken, you know, like a chicken with their head cut off. These players will, you know, form bad habits. You can't have young players just doing whatever they want.
Yeah, I feel you. Jamila, I appreciate it.
All right.
And I'm going to see you next
Thank you very much for the time. Have a good weekend.
I'm going to see you next Saturday, right?
Yes.
Yep, I see it.
Thank you very much for that opportunity, because it's something I've always wanted to do. I never had the time to do it, so
nice.
You kind of forced my hand there.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
All right, no problem. Talk to you later.
Have a good one.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to another phone call. Caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
Tim.
What's going on, man?
What's good, family?
I'm good.
Are you rousing the fan base here, Sim? Is that
Am
what's
I
going
rousing
on?
the fan base? I don't know, man. I'm just trying to figure out what we're gonna do next week. Next Wednesday against the Spurs. Man. Trying to figure out what we're gonna do.
Sim, I just got on, so I gotta be 100. I haven't caught the whole show, but you do realize the Knicks scored 116 points last night, right?
Yeah, we scored 116 points last night, and the Pelicans were
116 points.
Well, that's not necessarily the truth, because they did shoot 47% from the field and 39% from three. You know what I'm saying? But
okay, so they were efficient.
They were efficient last night. Doesn't always mean that they're playing fast, though. You know,
no.
Playing at a better pace.
What I'm saying is, my brother, is you as a basketball aficionado, you have to help calm the troops. I read something early this morning on my way in where I'm hearing guys are grumbling. You know, guys are already grumbling or whatever. I'm like, well, they brought in 9 new players. What did you think was going to be the process? You thought that, well, that the coach was just going to say, well, you are going to play, and these new 9 guys we got in here, you know, although we paid them lavish money, they're just going to sit down, and you young guys who we got here from last year, you guys are going to get the, you know, preferential treatment, and here we go. That doesn't make any sense.
Of course not. I mean, look. I try my best to you know, keep everybody cool, but there are some things too that I just, you know, recognize. I would like to see us play. I'm not saying take more shots, but play a faster pace, even in the half court, moving the ball faster, cutting faster.
I'm gonna say this: if you look at the construction of the team, especially the best parts of the team, They're a half-court team. Now, if you want to say they should bring the ball up quicker and get into their sets in the half court, I'll agree to that. That's probably a philosophy that they should be working on. But to say we should just go up and down,
that's not what I'm saying. See, okay. that's not what I'm saying. And I explained it a lot about pace. Right? I don't equate pace to the amount of shots you take or even how fast you get the ball up the floor. But I don't equate pace to going up and down real quick. That's not pace to me. Pace is, if you can get up the floor and get an easy shot, that's good. But if not, and you have to settle in a half-court set, that means the ball is moving. The ball is boom, boom, boom. And guys are cutting, bam, 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 and flashing. Right? So it's not like, pass the ball. Now I hold it for 2 seconds, and I don't see anything. Take 2 dribbles. Pass it over here. They hold it for 2 seconds. Don't see anything. Pass it back down here, right? And it's very slow and methodical. It's just boom and then hold and then boom and then hold. What I like to see, you pass it, someone cuts, it's not there. Pass it, someone cuts, it's not there. Pass it, it's not there. Pass it, it's not there. It's boom, boom, boom. Now we got a shot, right? Where it's going, boom, 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 boom. It's in the half court, but the ball is moving and men are moving. You know what I'm saying? Instead of pass it and hold, dribble, dribble, dribble. Pass it, hold, dribble, dribble.
What you're describing is Golden State. We're not Golden State. Curry's not our point guard. You understand what I'm saying? We have nine new guys here, Sim, and a lot of these pieces that came in, they've never played together before. You see what I'm saying? Continuity takes time.
I get that, but I don't think you have to be Golden State to be able to move the ball and have man movement. Because
nobody else plays to what you just described a while ago. Nobody else plays like that and is as efficient and taking as many threes like that besides Golden State. What you just described was a balanced attack with threes, part of it, and the only team that plays like that is Golden State.
But I'm not even worried about it being with threes. But you can move the ball and man with pace. With my AAU teams, sometimes I get 6 new players, but we practice moving the ball with pace. I got a rule. You get 3 dribbles to get to the basket. If you don't get to the basket and dribble in 3 dribbles, that ball better be kicked back out. Right? There is no catching the ball and holding it at the top of the key. If you're doing that, you're sitting on the bench with me. I want the ball moving, and I want the man moving. We practice without dribbling, right? We run fast break drills where the ball better not touch the floor. If it touches the floor, we're running as a team. You know what I'm saying? So we practice those type of things. So then when they get in the game, it's natural. It happens. Boom, boom, boom. And, we get just a couple weeks to practice and put these things in. You know what I'm saying? And it works. We play at a pace where the ball is moving, the man is moving. If somebody gets into a mode where they're dribbling a whole bunch of times to try to get to the basket, I pull them out and sit them down so that they learn their lesson. You know what I mean?
No, I feel you, family. I think they're gonna get there. They have a couple of guys on the team, that you're going to have to break them out of certain mold. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what they were used to doing. Alonzo Trier, one. Julius Randle to a certain regard, but he's the one that you're looking for 20+ points from, and he's used to scoring in a certain manner. You got to break him out of that to you know what I'm saying, at some points. I like I can't lie to you. I'm more worried about them on the defense because I see a lineup that I like because I think when we spoke earlier and I was gung-ho and you were right, and I've kind of changed my thought process on Mitch Robinson. And I said, you know what? Mitch still hasn't played a whole lot of basketball, and we don't necessarily need him to start, as far as that anchor piece with the defense. I saw not this game, the game before when they had Portis at the 5, and I never realized that Portis could move his feet that good. Yeah. That fourth quarter, that the other game when they were right there and Portis was moving his feet, and I was like, wow, he showed me, although he doesn't block shots, but position-wise and moving his feet, he showed me something. They had a lineup out there that was like, defensive-wise, I think this is our lineup. Not just defensive. I'm thinking also starting wise. This is our lineup with DSJ at the point.
Okay. Let me see. Right now, the Knicks defensive rating. Of course, this is preseason. The defensive rating in preseason is 103. 103 defensive rating. They're 20th in the league. That's in the preseason. 20th in the league in the preseason. They shore some things up and they get some solid rotations, where they're not experimenting with this and that, and they finally get some things, maybe they can move that up. If they can get in the top 15, man, I'll be happy.
And they got to make a move. They got to management, and I'm not going to blame Perry for this because I think Perry has a vision, an idea. I'm more looking at Mills as far as putting in his little 1-2 cents in and getting one too many guys. You can't play 10 guys. Maybe the first month of the season, month and a half maybe, you can't play 10, 11 guys. You just can't. And if some of these guys are already grumbling already, they got to make a move. They got to make a move, just to let the rest of them know, you know what, we brought you in, but we can let you go. Yeah. But I'm going to let you run, my brother. I know you got other people, we'll talk. You know what I'm saying? Calm the troops down, Tim. All right. Calm them down, baby. Bring them down, baby.
Keep everybody calm. Especially when the season, we haven't even touched a real minute yet, huh?
You see what I'm saying? We haven't touched a real minute yet, and Damon Dotson is back. You see what I'm saying? What do they want the coach to do exactly? Damon Dotson all of a sudden came from out of nowhere, and now the coach has to now think, okay, here's another piece that I'm going to have to think. Management is going. I have no doubt that management is going to make a move because young players, and rightfully so, you're only young once. Young players going to want to play. Yeah. Your Wayne Ellingtons of the world, the Bullocks of the world, they got a nice check. They could be the elder statesmen, but some of these young guys here. And I was an Alonzo Trier fan. You know Trier? Mm-hmm. You can go, buddy. You can go. You know what I'm saying? You can go. You're no star in this league yet. You gotta fit within the team concept. And if you're one of these grumbling, and I'm taking it's the young guys. If you're one of these grumbling young guys, you can go. All right, family. I'm going to let you run.
Find out.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to stay up, family.
All right. I don't know if it was Trier not who was grumbling, or if it was just.
I feel like it's everything in my body says he's one of the guys who's grumbling. Everything in me says he's one of the guys who's grumbling. And what did you think? You got 8 guards. You got 8 guards on the team, and now you got Bullock is not even back yet. What do you want the coach to do? The coach has to look and to find who. If it's not him, if it's a Dotson, if it's a DSJ, if it's Elfridge. I read something where they said that Elfridge Payton, was guaranteed the starting point guard. So really, why would he believe that?
Yeah, well.
Why would he?
Yeah, I mean, hey, you know what? That comes from. I think that he was maybe told that he's gonna have every chance and get a lot of minutes. I know he was at least told he was gonna get a lot of minutes. Was he guaranteed the spot? Listen, I hope that Fizdale, Scott Perry, whoever wouldn't guarantee anything to anyone. That was my whole argument back when we were talking about Mitch Robinson and Bobby Portis, who's going to be the starter, right? And Bobby Portis came out and said, that I was asked would I have a problem starting behind Mitch. That was my whole thing. Why would you guarantee anything to anyone at this point? You don't have that kind of team. Why would you guarantee a starting spot to Mitch Robinson? I'm not saying they did, but if they did, why would you guarantee him a starting spot? You shouldn't. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Just like you shouldn't guarantee Elfrid Payton a starting spot.
Him, you know, Knox, all these young guys. I'm like, yo, guys, you guys gonna have a long career in this league if you put in the time and do the work. This is just your second team. The guys that they brought in here, I think, are good pieces to help them be relevant. To help them be relevant in this Eastern Conference here. Everybody just can't play. You know, you can't play. In order to be successful, you're not going to be able to play that many guys and be successful on a night-in, night basis. You just can't.
Right. No doubt. All right, man. Hey, I appreciate the call, man. I'm gonna get over to some of these guys
family.
in the video chat.
Stay up. One more thing, family. Yeah. Are we getting some new call waiting sounds here? You know, we come on. The season's starting here soon. We need.
I'm gonna get some new call waiting sounds, man. I'm gonna get some.
I'm just bothering you, family. Stay up, man.
Peace. All right. Before I get to the guys in the video chat, I want to talk about a couple more of our some takeaways from the preseason. All right, we're going to get into a couple of preseason takeaways. Excuse me. A couple more preseason takeaways before I get to the other guys in video chat, man. All right. The next thing that I want to talk about as far as a takeaway from the preseason, we talked about the point guard battle, right? We talked about the coach's system. Excuse me, my throat's getting a little clogged up. The next thing I want to talk about, and this kind of goes with the coach's system, is I want to talk about Julius Randle. All right. Is Julius Randle ready? And then, of course, the point forward stuff. We talked about it a little bit earlier, right? We talked about it a little bit earlier. People are saying that he is. Most people say he's not ready. For most of the things that I've seen, people say he's not ready. Some people say he is ready. I think there's a lot of people that are not too happy about him playing point forward. Right? So I have a couple questions about Julius Randle playing point forward. Right? And I know there was some things last night about Julius Randle's play, you know, and he wasn't able to seal the deal and all that kind of stuff. Right? I wasn't really upset with Julius Randle's play last night. I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't, you know, he could have had a better game. He didn't shoot a great percentage from the field last night. So he could have had a better game in that aspect. All right, before I get to some of his preseason stats, let's take a look at what he did last night versus the New Orleans Pelicans. We're going to take a look at Julius Randle last night. So last night, Julius Randle, let me get down to it. Julius Randle last night was 7 for 19 from the field. He was 36.8% from the field. He was 4. Let me start over. He was 7 for 19 from the field. He shot 36.8%. He was 4 for 8 from 3, shot 50%. All right. I like that. Shot 50% from 3. He had 9 rebounds last night, 5 assists, and he had 4 turnovers. All right. Obviously, we want to clean up those turnovers from Julius Randle. You know, people complain about, you know, he wasn't able to seal the deal last night, you know, at the end of the game and all those type of things. I get it. He did shoot a bad shot. He, you know, turned the ball over, but he turned the ball over after he got a steal. All right. It's preseason. Let's not expect him to be there yet. I don't think we should expect him to be there yet. He's 24 years old. Obviously, there's players that are there at 24 years old. I get it. His career arc is different than other players' career arcs. Everybody's career arc is different. Everyone's career arc is different. But I thought he played well besides the shooting percentage, rebounding the basketball, decent defense. Right? You know, there's some things on offense that I like to see him do, get the ball out of his hands quicker. Sometimes he pounds and holds the ball too long, 10 seconds or something like that. We don't need that. That's something I think he needs to work on. But let's take a look at his stats from the preseason. And then we're going to talk about, is he ready to be the guy, or is he even that type of player to be the guy? And do the Knicks need to abandon this whole point forward thing, at least on a regular basis, the way they're using them? All right, so Julius Randle on the preseason, is shooting 16.3, is averaging 16.3 points per game. That's on the preseason right now. All right, he's averaging 8 rebounds a game, 4.5 assists per game, and he's averaging 3.5 turnovers per game. This is Julius Randle on the preseason. He's shooting 43.1% from the field and 43.8% from three. There you go. That's Julius Randle. All right. Listen, I love the 4.5 assists per game. It's because he has the ball in his hands a lot. Is that something that's natural for him to do? Right. He's playing that point forward position. When you're playing point forward, there's got to be some things that you just naturally know how to do, right? You've got to naturally have the mindset to get other people involved, which it sounds like he does from the way that he's talking, right? It sounds like he does. He wants other players to get better. He wants to get other people involved. Sounds like that. Now, does he have the natural court vision? I do not think so. Right? I do not think that he has the natural court vision to be the kind of guy that really does get this guy, and this guy involved. It's not that he doesn't want to, but I don't know if he has the natural ability to do it as far as, from a court vision standpoint. That's something that you've got to have if you're going to be a point forward. You've got to have the type of knowledge of the basketball game that you understand where guys are going to be, you got to have the mind of a point guard. If you're playing from that spot, I'm not sure he has the mind of a point guard. Just because you can dribble the ball up, right, and you can handle the basketball, you can make some passes here and there, doesn't mean that you have the mind of a point guard. And if you're going to play point forward, I think you need to have the mind of a point guard. That's why guys like LeBron James, of course, he's the creme de la creme when you talk about a point forward, can run that point forward spot because you have the mind of a point guard. Now, I don't know if Julius Randle is that. Lamar Odom could run some point forward, but he had that kind of a mindset too, that I'm willing to get the ball around and I can see plays happening and this and that. To me, Julius Randle was the kind of a guy you give him the ball and just let him do what he does in the post. If you're getting him on the elbow, let him do what he does. And every once in a while run some of that point forward stuff. I don't know if it's something that you're gonna. They've had him doing it a lot over the preseason. They've had him doing it a lot, and I don't know if it really suits him to do it as much as they've had him doing it. You know what I mean? And this also, is this going to be, if he's playing some point forward a lot, is it going to be to the detriment of our point guards? Right? Is it going to be to the detriment of our point guards? It all goes together. You see the numbers that our point guards have. They're not good. And I'm not saying it's because of Julius Randle, right? That's not what I'm saying, right? And look at our point guards again. Dennis Smith Jr. You see his numbers. You don't like it. You don't like it. I don't like it. Frank Ntilikina. You see his numbers. We don't like it. 28.6% from the field, 11.1% from three. We don't want that. Elfrid Payton. You see his numbers. 25% from the field, 20% from three. We don't need that. We don't want that. But then, of course, in all of these players, the assists are maybe kind of down a little bit. But they may not be handling the ball as much either. They may be playing a little bit more off the ball. Because we have Julius Randle playing a lot of point forward. So is that to the detriment of our point guards, or are they doing that because we don't have the point guards that can actually run our offense, run a system, make plays, blah, 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 blah. If you're going to have someone run a point forward, the guy to do it to me is RJ Barrett. He's the best guy to be running point forward. You know what I'm saying? Let Julius Randle be Julius Randle. That's what I think. You know what I'm saying? I know that David Fizdale is here to help these guys develop as players. I get it, right? Develop as players. But let's not get too fancy with it, right? Let's not, sometimes you get someone, and I'm not saying this is David Fizdale, but you get a person who, they're known as someone who can develop players. They're known as this, they're known as that. And then they try to do too much. I don't want to try to do too much, right? Don't help these guys develop where they're weak, get better where they have strengths, add different facets to their game. Don't force feed anything. I don't know. Maybe that point guard, maybe that point forward position is ease it into him a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And maybe when we get into the regular season, he won't play as much point forward as he did in the preseason. Maybe that's just what the preseason is for. And we're actually going to see a little bit more stuff come out in the regular season, and we'll see a little bit more tradition, of our point guards handling the basketball, him going under the basket, catching the ball, in that mid-post area and going to work. Running the ball in transition, some of those things. You know what I mean? Let's see. Hopefully. Right? Hopefully. And is he ready? Is Randle ready to be that guy? You know what? I think the question is going to be, is he ever going to be that guy? For this team, he has to be that guy. He has to be that guy for this team. You know what I'm saying? We get it. We understand. He's going to be our best scorer, right? He's definitely a beast down low, and you can see the power when he goes to the basket. You can see it. Right? Is he ready? I don't know. Let's give him time before we even make that distinction. That's what I feel. Give him a little bit of time. Give him a little bit of time to get used to being the guy that has the ball in his hands a lot. Get used to being a guy that the other team is queuing in on. He got a little bit of it last year in New Orleans, but let him get used to being that dude, man. You know what I'm saying? People are like, oh, he turned the ball over in the crunch time. He missed a free throw against the Wizards. Those things. Listen, it's preseason. It takes time to get used to. There's a different type of pressure. A different type of pressure when you have that responsibility on your shoulders. Right? And maybe I don't, shouldn't use the word pressure because I'm not a big guy that's into pressure like that. But it's just a different responsibility. You accept a different level of responsibility. You know what I mean? And you've got to get used to that level of responsibility. You know what I'm saying? It's like going from high school to college, right? From high school, you go to college. And then in college, you have a different level of schoolwork. There's a different level of responsibility that you have. You're now out on your own. You don't have high school teachers telling you to get your homework in. You don't have your parents there telling you to do your homework. You have to manage your time, right? You have you got free time that you got to learn how to manage. You got to learn how to not go out and party when it's time to study for a test or when it's time to do your homework or whatever it is. So you have to manage those things on your own. So it's a different level of responsibility. And for some players, for some kids, you got to get used to it. It's the same thing. This is a step up for him, a step up in responsibility. He's got to learn it and get used to it. So I'm not ready to say he's not the guy. There's so many people are definitive. He's not it. He's not the guy. He's not it. And then if you go someplace else and he is the guy, people are going to say, damn, what happened? Why did we trade him? Or why did we let him go? Or whatever it is. Right? Let's Let's give it a little bit of time. It's been 4 preseason games. This is what I do like. In 2 of those preseason games, when it came down the stretch, and it was a close game, he was there and he was making plays. Right? He got to the line. He missed the free throw, but he got to the line. He got us a steal last night to put us in position. 2 steals to put us in position to win the game. Right? So he was there. He was present and he was active and he was making plays. I will settle with that for now. I'll be okay with that for right now. I'm saying, and then, the next step is for him to make that progression to converting those plays, when he's there, converting those plays and leading us to wins. You know what I'm saying? But it takes a little bit of time. We can't expect him to just come in right now and as he just became or just now assuming that responsibility and all of a sudden be the guy. You know what I mean? But I do agree with whoever it was I was speaking to. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Guillermo. Yeah. I do agree with Guillermo. I don't want him to force feed being the guy. You know what I'm saying? He don't have to force feed it. Just let the game come to him. But also Fizdale has to not force feed it either. You know what I'm saying? Just let the game come to him naturally. He'll be okay. You know what I mean? He'll be just fine. Let's get to the video chat, see what these guys think. I know I got a couple of guys that's probably, thinks I forgot about them. I ain't forget about you. I'm coming. Relax. Slow your horses. Isaiah, I'm coming to you, man. Charlie Brown, I'm coming to you. You ready? 1 second. Get you unmuted. There you go.
Hey, what's up, Sam?
What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Trying not to get fired at work today.
Yeah, I know. I seen you at work, man. You trying to, you trying to multitask. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, man.
You can't multitask. Just work. Just work. Just work.
No. Listen, Sam. When you an MBK original, you got to sacrifice. Even if it means your job, you got to sacrifice for the show. That's what we do.
Don't sacrifice your job. You know what I'm saying? If you sacrifice your job, then your mom's going to kick you out the house. Then you're going to be living on the street, still trying to sign into NBA.
I'm going to move with you. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move with you.
That's not happening.
Hey, listen. I ain't gonna reveal all your business, but listen, I'm moving the house.
Yeah, okay.
You got some space now.
Ain't that much space. But anyway.
Oh man.
Julius Randle. What's going on, son? We'll talk about Julius Randle. From what you've seen so far in the preseason, right?
Yep.
What's your take? Is he ready?
Ready? No, he's ready. See, he's ready. I think people are caught up with this whole point forward thing. Listen, I'm not a big fan of it personally. Listen, I feel like it should be more natural. Don't force him to be a point forward. Like, listen, don't let him bring the ball up. That needs to stop. Like I told you before, you need your point guards to be point guards. Sometimes you need your power forwards to be power forwards. It's okay to play your natural position. I think nowadays, everybody's getting caught up in this whole, everybody needs to be, versatile. Everybody needs to play 1 through 5. No, man. Listen, sometimes it's literally okay to play your position. It's okay. I'm tired of seeing, Randle bring up the ball. He can do it a couple times, sometimes. Listen, he's not Draymond Green. He's not going to be Draymond Green in that way. Draymond Green is a better ball handler. He can actually bring up the ball. He's a point forward. Listen, you have RJ, Dennis, what's the other kid, Peyton and RJ. Let them bring the ball up the court. I want to see those 4 people bring the ball up the court. Those are the guys I want to see bringing the ball up the court. I don't want to see Julius Randle bring the ball up the court because sometimes he forces himself to be a point guard. He can naturally pass, though. He's a really good natural passer for his position. So let him do that. Let him do that versus him being forced to be a point forward. Let Frank make plays. I keep hearing David Fielder say Frank makes us better when he's on the floor, when he makes plays. Give him the ball. Like I believe before, Frank should be the starting point guard. So let him bring up the ball. Let RJ bring up the ball. They're both very skilled at bringing up the ball and setting the offense and doing things and passing the ball. Let them do that. Let Julius Randle go back to what makes Julius Randle great and why we paid him the money. Let him be a bully ball power forward and let him do what he does. This kid can average 24 and 10 easily because he's that good. So let him do that and stop letting him be a point forward and let him do what he just let him do what he do best. You know what I'm saying, Sam?
Nah, I feel you. Let him do what he does. Right.
Because it's again, Sam, it's okay for a center to be a center. Every center is not going to be Jokic. I think we're caught up in the moment of the NBA where everybody just thinks they're going to play multiple positions. It's okay for your center to be a center. It's okay for your power forward to be a power forward. It's okay. They don't all have to pass forward. There's not that many Draymond Greens and Jokic. You know what I'm saying? There's not that many of them. That's why they're rare commodities. That's why they're not on the market. That's why it's hard to draft those guys because they rarely come out. It's funny how they all came out in the second round. That's a coincidence, I guess. But man, you just gotta let these guys play their national positions. Let them do what they do best. Julius Randle is a bully ball type of player. Let him get in the paint. Let him get in the post. Do some double screens like we talked about. Do some stuff to get him open and get him in prime position to do what he does best. That's why we're paying him all that money.
Okay. All right. Let me get over here to Ross and see what Ross is thinking about it. Hold on, Ross. One second. All right, Ross, go ahead, man. Got you.
Nah, yeah, like I agree with what Isaiah is saying. Like, don't try to do too much with the guy. I mean, you already know that he will give you 20 and 10. Don't put him in predicaments that you understand. Like now, for example, like. Make sure that you allow him to know that you could just do this A, B. You understand? Don't give him C. Like yesterday, he was trying to look like Carmelo at the end. You understand? With the double dribble and then like try to do fancy things. Don't try to be fancy. You understand? Like if what we need is the Rucker Park type of style, like Julius Randle, then leave him the way it is. Don't put him in different positions because I see his effort. I see the way he will fight for a ball, but then 2 seconds later, you know what I'm saying, like a messed up dribble, and then like over, you know, or like it's just basically like a lot of times he would do something good and then at the same time like fuck it up 3 seconds later. So like I'm happy with him, you understand? Like he got us back into this game. That's why at the end I didn't blame that he missed the shot. But I was like, yo, for those type of situations, that's when Fixdale gotta be a goddamn coach and tell them, look, as soon as you get the rebound, give it to Trier. Or if you're gonna shoot a three, make sure that you look at the clock. So in case of, you know, we have 3 seconds, the ball could bounce and somebody could, you know, you understand, Sim? Somebody could pull it in back, you know, very quick. But I mean, the play calling is just very interesting right now because we're all over.
But you know,
and we didn't get a lot of games too. That's what I noticed. That typically during preseason is always 8 or 9 games, right?
Nah, they cut that down a while ago. So everybody usually gets about 5 games.
Yeah. So you know, but I mean, we needed more like back in the days.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have at least another game, you know. But I will say this. You know, let's give. Well, I would say I said it already. Let's give him a chance. You know, he's got to learn how to be that guy. He hasn't been that guy before.
And we have no choice because with the other guys, they have one year contract. He's gonna be here for 4 years, regardless of anything. Whatever, you know, I can say whatever. So we just gotta let him be in his get his own like model. Not trying to do too much. Not try to. You understand?
Yeah, you know, let's see how this thing works out. It's 4 games into the preseason. Not 4 games into the preseason. The preseason is over. They played 4 preseason games. Now, I will say that they played those guys minutes like they were playing regular season minutes. And I will also say this. You know, a lot of us are looking at, you know, we were 1-3 in the preseason. There's a lot of people looking at that. We're 1-3 in the preseason. You know, when we had the one game where we really got blown out. We got beat bad. That was the second game versus the Wizards. The Wizards had a 41-point second quarter, and they smacked us. Okay? That was the one game. Every other game after that, or every other game in the preseason, we easily were, you know, in that Atlanta game, maybe if Julius Randle knocks down the free throw, maybe we win. In this last game, when Julius Randle gets a steal, then he comes back down and turns it over. Maybe we win if he doesn't turn it over. Or maybe we win if Alonzo Trier knocks down one of those 2 3-point shots that he had that were, they were very good looks. And they were on point, just a little bit short. Maybe we win. Right? So we could very well be 3-1 in this preseason and everybody walking away like, hey, and thinking, hey, maybe, maybe we'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? Just a couple of bounces of the basketball, a made shot here or there down the stretch. We easily could have been 3-1 in this preseason. You know what I mean? So maybe we can look at it that way as well. Instead of just looking at, well, we were 1-3. We had the one game where we let the Wizards get out to 41 points. What are some of the positive takeaways? Well, I'm going to tell you one positive takeaway that I've seen. One positive takeaway that I've seen is that we scrap and we fight. Against the Hawks, we got down 9 points. Maybe we got down double digits. I don't remember. I think maybe it was the biggest lead the Hawks had was 11. We could have folded. And last year, we probably would have folded. Even though it's preseason, we probably would have folded. But we didn't fold last night. We didn't fold against the Hawks. We didn't fold last night. But we could have folded last night as well. We didn't fold. Right? We kept in it. As a matter of fact, I think we were down 12 points. And I'm not glorifying losing, Joe Curry. I'm just stating the facts. The facts are the facts, bro. You telling me when we were down 1 point or 2 points or whatever it was, and Alonzo Trier had 2 wide open looks at 3, that we couldn't have possibly won the game if we made it? And like I said, it wasn't like they were terribly off. They were on point, just a little bit short. The facts are the facts. The facts are that we lost, but it's also fact that a couple of made shots here and there we could have won. It wasn't like we got blown out those 2 games. We got blown out 1 game against the Washington Wizards. You know what I mean? We could have folded last night. 4 minutes left in the game, we're down 12 points. We brought it back and had a chance to win. You know what I'm saying? And that's all you ask, is to give yourself a chance to win within that last 4 minutes of the game, last 5 minutes of the game. You have a chance to win. You have a chance to win. We can put ourselves in position to have a chance to win. And maybe early on it's not happening. Hopefully hopefully it does happen. But if it's not happening and we can survive that one stretch of 13 games where we play those playoff game teams, and then we start to turn it around and start to, instead of just being there in the end, we actually pull those wins out. You know what I mean? Listen, there is a process to this thing. It doesn't just happen right away. It doesn't. There is a process as well. And you got to go through the process sometimes of losing before you win. Even within one season, sometimes it happens that way. You know what I mean? The facts, though, are that we lost, but in 3 of those games, 1 of the games we won, 2 of the other games, we were right there. We were right there. Regardless of what you want to say, we were right there. Now let's see what happens when we get to the regular season. Let's see if we can be right there in the regular season and then start to pull those victories out. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I think that we are going to be a feisty team. We've got to get our defensive rotations right and our switches, because we're going to be a team that switches. That's obvious. We got to get those things right so that we're able to win some of these basketball games. We're able to win basketball games, and not have our defense be our Achilles heel. Like I said, we got a 103 defensive rating right now, 20th in the league. That's in the preseason. Let's see what happens when we get to the regular season. And maybe when you get to the regular season, you're going to coach a little bit different. The guys who are getting it done are going to be in the game, hopefully. Right? I know Coach Fizdale is still looking at lineups and seeing who's going to play. It is what it is, man. All I got to say is Mike Hawks, you're saying, Sim, Sim, you of all people should know, if we get 10 to 15 bad possessions, that's the game, and that's what Trier and Smith Jr. bring, 10 to 15 bad possessions. But you know what? Yeah, I mean, look, 10 to 15 bad possessions, maybe you lose the game, that's true. But still, the facts are, we were there down the stretch. We were there down the stretch, right? Because there's gonna be games where you have more than that, and you gotta fight and claw. They've made no qualms about it. They know. They've discussed it. They've said it. What a type of team that's gonna have to fight and claw and play one of those type of games in order to win. They get it and they understand it because they're going to have bad possessions because they don't have those type of players yet. So they got to play that style of basketball game, right? I get that. So sometimes we're all going to have to sit and watch and cringe as we see some messed up plays. And there may be a lot of games that we do get down double digits and we fight back. I think we're going to see that with this team sometimes. I want to see the fight. I want to see the fight. Look, last night against the Pelicans, let's be real. Let's look at it. Let's be real. We shot 47% from the field, scored 116 points, right? The Pelicans were averaging 128 points per game. Now, obviously, Zion Williamson didn't play, right? But we kept it to 117. We scored 116. Right? And we were only scoring maybe 103, so we scored 13 more points than our average. All I'm saying is, I'm not getting too high or too low. I know I point out a lot of things, and sometimes I play devil's advocate, but I'm not getting too high. I'm not getting too low. I'm still looking and seeing. Right? And I'm just going to call it the way that I see it. And the way that I see it right now is that while we do not have an offensive system, and we're not shooting that great from the floor, besides last night in the first game, and we got to figure out the point guard situation. Julius Randle has a lot of things to figure out. Still, 3 of the 4 games we were in position to win. I take that as a positive. Maybe you don't. I do. Get to a phone call. Caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping? And give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, caller. Okay,
I can't stand the merit when it's like.
Caller, you're on live, my man.
It's the worst. And then you know what really gets me mad though? What really gets me mad?
Caller, can you hear me?
Yo, it's mad people talking. Yeah, I'm just hearing somebody else in the background. What's up, man? Yo, I was just calling about my team, man. Like they've been hurting me, these Knicks, man. Oh my God. But I think
it's
our
ridiculous.
best
It's like
lineup.
Give me 1 second.
I think our best
give me 1 second.
All right, go ahead.
All right, there you go.
All right, what's up, man? Yo, I think our best lineup really for like growth and just for competition. Cause I'm looking at the team, and a lot of them, I'm looking at the effort. Like if you looked at that Hawks game, that Brembry dude that came off the bench, that dude was killing us just off of effort alone. And you know what I mean? There's people like RJ that's out there really playing hard. I don't know if it's just because he's wet behind the ears, but I like his energy. I wanna put Frank out there because he needs to develop. This kid is still young, but he has like international experience. Like this kid can play. He just needs to be refined. He's raw. So put in Frank, put in RJ. I'm not quitting on Knox. I feel like Knox, he could sit off the bench and let Morris go to the 3, or Knox could come in and keep playing. I don't know, because even what's the name? What's that dude named Blake Griffin? He sat out a year. A lot of players sit out a year. Knox got to just go in last year. He could sit out. He could sit on the bench for the year or whatever. But I'm saying Frank, RJ, Knox, or Morris. Randle is our solid 4, and then put in Mitchell. Like that's how I'm looking at it. I'm not too keen with Avery Payton. Like, I feel like, everybody hyped him up ever since he cut his hair. I'm like, whatever. I'm not too hyped on it. I feel like we have too much. We have a logjam at the point guard position. And I don't want to – everybody keeps saying put RJ at the point. But I'm like, I don't want him to get in that mode. Same way with Randle. Randle don't need to be playing no facilitator like that. I mean, Marc Gasol, he was a good facilitator too, and he was a center. He wasn't bringing up the ball up the court. You know what I'm saying? Let Randle keep doing his thing, dishing it when he's in the post or whatever and getting those good looks. That's good for him, but you don't need to be bringing up the ball. We have too many point guards. DSJ, I'm still a little iffy with him too. I don't know. But that's how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at Frank at the 1, RJ at the 2, Knox or Morris at the 3, Randle at the 4, Mitchell at the 5. That's how I'm looking at it. And Trier, don't sleep on Trier. Trier is our scorer. He reminds me of like the Manu Ginobili, you know what I mean? Like he coming off like ready to score, and we need that. Like halftime we suck on offense. So that's just all I wanted to say, man. And God bless.
I appreciate you, brother. Peace.
Yeah, man.
Get to one more phone call, and then I want to talk about my last takeaway from the preseason. Caller, you're on live with the Knicks. What's poppin'?
Yeah, hello, Sam. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I've been calling in a while, man. This is the Patrick Ewing.
Oh yeah, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Maybe not feeling so good, given what's going on with the Knicks, but on a personal level, I'm all right. But as a Knicks fan, I'm not doing too well right now.
All right.
But you're talking about Randle, right? I think whether he can do the point forward thing, right? That's what you're on right
Randle, ready. He's ready. Doing the point forward. You're gonna be the last call I take on it. Then I'm gonna move on to something else.
All right, no problem. So I'll touch on that. The thing about it, I don't really think he's the man for the job, and I'll tell you why. I think I was listening earlier. He made a very good point. He made a point about the fact that point forward, guard, whatever you want to call it, has to have like basically three things. You got to have the willingness to pass. You got to be able to pass. You got to have the court vision. You probably have to have the handles to do it too. He doesn't have the vision, the court vision necessary to be the point forward, in my opinion. I think that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? And if you want a point forward, if you're really going to go that route, you probably should go with RJ Barrett.
Right.
Because RJ already, right, as a rookie, the guy's 19 years old, right? And already he's a point forward. You can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's comfortable doing that, right? It's not like somebody's not forcing it. You can see it's instinctive with him, right? He gets the ball, he pushes up the court, he finds the open man, he has the handles to handle the job, he has a vision. It's instinctive with him, it's natural for him. You don't have to force it. So if you're really gonna let it be a point forward situation, that's the guy that should do it. So really to answer your question, I don't think Randle is the guy. But I want to touch on a couple of other things if I have time to do that.
Yep, go ahead.
The problem that I see is that this guy he overthinks things. So I wanted to ask you something. If you think, do you agree that looking at this guy Barrett that he can be the point forward? Would you agree with that?
I think he can. Can he do it the entire season? I don't know. I think
let me ask the question this way. Do you think he's a better option at this point than Randle?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. And I think anybody who watches the game could see that. Right? I think you ask most people, most fans, I don't think we're the outliers, right? I think most people would look at it and say that this guy, he's better. Whether he's too young to do it full time, that's a legit concern. But there's no question the guy has the natural ability to do it, right? Why is he forced? I don't. That's the problem I have with Fitz. Why is he not seeing that? Why is he forcing Randle to do that? If he wants a point forward, look at your eyes. Your eyes are seeing it. He's the best option. And then if you're concerned about his inexperience, if you're concerned about him not being able to handle it full time, then that's what you got the point guard for. You got DSJ there. You got my man Peyton, you got my main man Frank. That's my boy right there, as you know. And then so if anything, let them share the duties, right? But why force? Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no. Go ahead.
I thought you were saying something. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, there's some stuff in the background there. I don't know what's some feedback or something. But anyway, yeah. So that's my thing. I'm thinking that this guy, he's overthinking stuff. It's to me it's very obvious that if you're looking for a point forward, if you're really looking to do a point forward thing, then had the duty be shared between Frank or the point guard, whoever you choose. And RJ do it some of the time and take that burden off of Randle and let Randle do what he does. Randle is a bully ball type of, kind of old school bully ball type of dude. Let him do that. I don't understand what's this constant topsy-turvy. We gotta do this. We gotta try to figure out who's that. It's not that difficult. It's very clear just looking at their skill sets who should be what, in my opinion, anyway. So I just want to get your take on that.
I agree with you, and that's what I was saying a little bit earlier. Sometimes I think people try to just do a little bit too much, trying too hard to be innovative or something like that. You know what I mean? And you don't have to be. You could just let the guys do what they do and be good.
Let the guys do what they do naturally. Exactly.
Right. Just the
other thing, the last thing I want to touch on, I can't make a call to you without talking about my man Frank, right? I just got to say something about Frank. I just say that. The one thing about that I noticed, we played 4 games, right? We won 1 game. The other 2 were pretty close. And we got blown out in the other game, right? The second game against Washington. Right. And now what we saw in that Washington game that made us really, that set us fans off and started questioning Fizz was the fact that we played absolutely no defense on the perimeter, right? Washington lit us up from outside, right? And the one thing Frank can do is play the perimeter defense, because we saw it against Atlanta, right? Once he came in there, my man Trae Young, he took him completely out of the game. So I don't understand, why isn't he, if he's always preaching defense, is there? I just don't understand why Frank, I could see if you're telling me Frank can't play the point because he's, you got to get, the NBA's changed now, you got to be able to score a little bit from the point. And he has some deficiencies on the offensive end. But there's no question that Frank is, and I would say by far the best defender on the team. Maybe Mitch, you could make an argument for Mitch. That guy should be on the court because you can see when he's there, the Knicks defense is infinitely better. Plus, even though he himself is not a great offensive player, the team itself seems to perform better with him on the court offensively. To me, again, it's a no-brainer for him to be on the court. What you should do, I think, is relieve him of all responsibility of points. Since he's struggling so much on the offensive end, make him a 3-and-D type of dude. So he doesn't have too much on his plate offensively, right? You can let him play defense, and then then limit him to a 3-and-D type of role. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, with the 3-and-D, he's got to be able to knock down the 3. He's shooting 11% from 3, so he's got to be able to knock the 3 down in order to play that 3-and-D type of role.
But don't you think the fact that he's having trouble offensively, no question, but the fact that he's asked to do too much, for him it's too much, right? Running the team, you got to do the point guard, he has a lot more on his plate, right? So maybe if you restrict him to just, okay, let's do this 3-and-D role.
Okay, I can understand that, and I think that's where it comes down to with Frank Ntilikina just having a real system where you say this is your job in the system. I've always thought that about Frank, right? Because he's a system type of guy. So if you're playing freelance or freewheeling type of basketball, he's not going to thrive too well.
Right.
Now, and I was having this discussion with Guillermo between him and Elfrid Payton. I mean, they're pretty much the same player. Of course, Frank has a little bit more. He's a little better defensively than Elfrid Payton. My only question is, and I know what the preseason numbers are right now, but when the season time comes, when the season really comes and they're really playing, between Frank and Elfrid Payton, and I know why the argument is for Frank because he's younger and the defense, but will the defense when you blend the two, defense and offense, is Elfrid Payton going to give you more because offensively he's going to be a little bit better than Frank?
Here's I think you answered your question. I think Frank, here's the thing about Frank that I'm surprised is what I should say, that he's not shooting better. Because when he was younger, when he got drafted, when he did that under 18 tournament, he actually looked like he was a decent shooter. When he was at FIBA, he shot pretty well. And the thing I remember, if I remember correctly, when KP was here in his rookie season, when Hornacek was here, he wasn't a horrible shooter either. He wasn't great, but he was a decent shooter. So I think the guy has the ability to shoot the ball. And you look at his form, all of that stuff seemed to be there. I don't remember him being that bad a shooter under Hornacek.
Yeah.
And so I think it's there. I think the problem is, I think he does have some confidence issues, and I think you hit it on the head, that he's a guy that needs like a defined role. Right, you got to tell him, okay, my man, this is what you do. Unleash him defensively. We see what he could do when he is focused on defensive end. He's completely and utterly disruptive. Trae Young is one of the brighter offensive players in the game, and he took him out of the game completely. Then you just shut him down. And it's not the first time. We've seen him do it to Harden. We've seen him do it to Kyrie. He does it to people all the time. When he's engaged defensively, he shuts people down. That's another reason why I would prefer him over, in addition to being the age issue, I prefer him over Payton, because to me, even though Payton plays defense, I don't think his defense is even in the same category with Frank, in my opinion.
All right.
I think Frank is on another level defensively. And I think the only reason he's not as consistent, with the defense is because there's a lot of pressure on him to perform offensively, so he doesn't have time to think about the defense. He's constantly worrying about, well, I got to shoot, because if I don't shoot, the fans are on me, the coach going to pull me. So he's more focused on the offensive side, and he's not as engaged defensively. I think if you told Frank, look, forget about the offensive right now. Just where I want to unleash you defensively and let him focus on that, and then limit his offensive responsibility. And I say, all I want, you don't have to. Your job is not. I don't want you running the offense anymore. I'm gonna take all of that out your hands. All I want you to do is play defense and hit the occasional jump shot. And I think you will see a different. And you'll see, because now he doesn't have as much responsibilities, and you're gonna see him probably be able to, now he's going to be able to do little. He's doing his defense, which he's good at. He hits a jumper here and there. His confidence is going to go up. But you got to take away all of that. You got to stop putting stuff on him that he's not ready for right now. I think that's the problem why his defense is not as consistent as it was in his rookie year, because he's asked to do stuff on the offensive end that he's not ready for, not comfortable yet. And he's so focused on that. He knows if I don't shoot the ball, I'm not going to be able to play. That's my assessment of it.
All right, my man. Well, we're going to see. Yeah. We're going to see in a couple of days.
Well, what do you think? I know I'm going to go, but so tell me, what do you think about that assessment, though? I'm going to go, but I just want to get your feeling on that.
No. Yeah, that's the one thing I do feel that I don't know if he's doing too much, if he's being asked to do too much, or maybe he is. I don't know, but I do think that you got to give him a defined role. That's what Frank Ntilikina, give him a defined role and say, here, now you go excel at that role. You know what I mean? And maybe he is being spread too thin, with being, playing the 1, the 2, the 3, and he doesn't exactly know what he does. And maybe he's the kind of kid, and I think he is, that needs to know this is what I need to do, and I'm gonna perfect it. So we're gonna find out, man. We're gonna find out soon enough. Just a couple of days. We got like 4 days, and the Knicks and the Spurs are gonna kick off the Knicks season. All right. My last takeaway from preseason, and I know, it's been 3 hours later, but my last takeaway from preseason, I am going to condense this, by the way. I'm going to take this and I'm going to condense it down to maybe 15, 20-minute video, since it's 3 hours long for some people that just want to get the nuts and bolts of it. But my last preseason takeaway is the play of rookie R.J. Barrett. That's the last preseason takeaway. You know what I mean? I've been really, really impressed by R.J. Barrett. Really impressed by RJ Barrett and what he's done this preseason. Now, I am concerned. I am concerned about the amount of minutes that David Fizdale is playing. You know, I mean, he's already playing them 37 minutes a game. That's a lot of minutes. Why is he playing so many minutes? And is it going to? I don't know why he's playing them so many minutes. That's a lot of minutes. You know, a lot of minutes. But over the course of the preseason, he's averaging 15.8 points per game, 6.8 rebounds per game, 3.3 assists per game, 1.5 turnovers per game. And I really like that, you know, because he takes care of the ball. He's smart with the basketball. He doesn't try to force anything. You know, very smart with the basketball. And he's shooting 46.3% from the field. Now, that really jumped up last night because he shot 75% from the field. He's 9 for 12 from the field last night. So it really jumped up. Okay, he's shooting 46.3% from the field, 33.3% from three. All right, so, you know, RJ Barrett he's for real, I think. I think this kid is for real. I like the way he plays the game. He has an NBA body. He's very smart. He's well coached. And him being well coached isn't coming from David Fizdale. It's coming from his previous coaches. Right? That's why he's well coached. You know what I'm saying? I like what I've seen from RJ Barrett so far. Really, really impressed with this kid. I said, you know, before the preseason or even, you know, the season started that I thought he was going to shoot better from three in the NBA. So far in the preseason, he has shooting 33.3%. You know, it's because he's going to get so many of them that are wide open. He's going to get a lot of them wide open. 46.3% from the field. I mean, I will take, if that's his career average, I would take that. You know, I would take that. Now, look, he's got to work on that mid-range shot. He's getting good looks, you know, close to the basket from cutting. He knows when to cut, knows how to cut. You know, you seen it last night in that first half. He scored 17 points in the first half, and he knew where to cut so that he could get those open layups and those open looks at the basket. You know what I'm saying? I'm very, very impressed with RJ Barrett and what RJ Barrett has done so far as a rookie in this league. 15.8 points per game, 6.8 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 1.5 turnovers, shooting 46.3% from the field, 33.3% from the field goal from three. And defensively, he can play defense. This kid can play some defense. I'm not saying that he's an all-world shutdown defender. That's not what I'm saying. All right, so let's not get that twisted. But I think, you know, but I like what he does defensively and within a team defense. He gets it. He just gets it. Very, very impressed with RJ Barrett so far. Very impressed with RJ Barrett. Is he going to be Rookie of the Year? You know, I don't know. And I know he cares and he wants to be Rookie of the Year. He said he wants to be Rookie of the Year. I don't care that much. You know, maybe Zion Williamson, as long as Zion isn't hurt. Zion Williamson will probably be Rookie of the Year. You know what I mean? You've seen the numbers that Zion is putting up, incredible numbers. You know, as long as he stays healthy, he'll probably be Rookie of the Year. I'm not that worried about it, to be honest with you. I just want to see him perform well and prove that he can be a cornerstone of this team and one of the guys that you're definitely going to have on your squad moving forward. And I think he has done that and will continue to do that. You know what I mean? He's been very, very impressive throughout the season. I'm going to do a video, you know, where I just kind of break down some things with RJ. You know what I mean? And some of the things that I see. Now, he's got to improve his free throw shooting. I think he's shooting 68% from the free throw line. He should be a better free throw shooter than that. Because he's going to get to the line a lot. You know what I mean? RJ's going to get to the line. So he's got to hit those free throws. Look, when RJ Barrett, right now he's averaging 15.8 points per game as a rookie in the preseason. Okay. If he's able to get his three-point shooting up to, let's say, 36, 37%, and he can shoot, he can knock it down from the free throw line at 80%, and he gets a mid-range where he can knock down his mid-range shot. Now, that's a lot. There's a lot of things that have to happen, but they can happen. You're talking about a guy that will be 23, 24 points a game, in my opinion. If those things happen. He can, again, if he can raise himself up to 36, 37% from three, if he can become an 80% free throw shooter, and he can knock down the mid-range, get this guy, let's say 22, 23 points a game, somewhere around there. That's what I think. You know what I mean? That's what I think. If he can do those things. It's not going to happen this year, next year, maybe not even the year after that, but maybe 4th, 5th season, we see him there. You know what I mean? I like him. I like what I'm seeing from RJ Barrett, man. Very, very impressed with the kid. And, I think he's going to be able to do a lot of things for us moving into the future, folks. That's what I think. I'm coming down to the end of the show. You know what I mean? Coming down to the end of the show. So I do want to get these guys real quick. You know what I'm saying? Give me your assessment of RJ Barrett really quick. And then I'm going to be heading up out of here as I get your assessment, on RJ Barrett. I also, I'm going to come back around to you. And I want to find out, based on what you're seeing in the preseason, does it change your prediction for the Knicks for the season? All right. So give me, 2 minutes, 1 minute on RJ Barrett. Guillermo, I'm coming to you, man. 1 minute on RJ Barrett, Guillermo. Guillermo, you there?
Yo, what's up, sir?
What's going on, man?
Yo,
give me 1 minute on what you're feeling about RJ Barrett right now. And then what you feel about RJ Barrett. And then based on the preseason, does your assessment and where you think your prediction for the next season, has it changed?
RJ Barrett, I love what I'm seeing. He was really efficient last night. He looks like a professional. He knows when to drive. He knows when to push the ball. I think he's smarter than what we give him credit for, because just he doesn't handle the ball as much. But I think he's an excellent player. I think he's excellent right now as a rookie. And I love the choice you made. Zion Williamson is going to have his injury problems. I wanted John Morant. He's still going to be good. But RJ Barrett, I love what I'm seeing from him. Him and Frank in the backcourt could be pretty. They could surprise some people. And in regards to my expectations, I gotta change my expectations because I just don't know what the hell Fizz is coaching these guys, man. Like, you guys are just talking about Randle, right? And Randle playing a point forward. Randle playing from the point forward position. Randle has to play down low and move in that area where he can play off the baseline, come in where the point guard breaks his guy down or breaks the whatever down and gets it near the basket. The big man commits, he can pass it to Randle. Randle's not a pure point forward like, say,
yo, didn't you get Devon on the album cover?
In terms of coaching, what is he looking at where he's telling these guys to do these things? Hopefully
look you on the album cover, Devon.
He knows that Randle needs to be more around that near that position, but I need to see more from Fizz to show me that, one, the team defense, there's going to be something of a team defense where it's not just RJ and Frank and Mitchell giving effort. It has to be a team. He said the team's going to be better on defense. I got to see it. I got to see offensive set where it's more off ball, not just dribble handoff, and wherever the ball is, that's where the movement happens. It has to be a lot more nuance to his offensive philosophy. And, I got to say this Knicks team is not going to win. They're not going to get to the playoffs. At best, this is a 30-win team. At best, given what we're doing now, where we have to come back at the end, because our defense was so piss poor in the beginning. And there's no flow in the offense. Guys are doing ISO. No, it can't be that. So right now, it has to change to around 30 games. If he gets the team play better defense, if he gets that backcourt aligned properly, and he gets guys like Knox, to improve from last year, then yeah, maybe a 40-win team. But right now, it's 30-win team until Fizz improves. Until Fizz shows me that he can coach better than what he's shown in the preseason and last year.
Okay. All right. Roz, I'm coming to you, Roz.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Let me.
Yeah, mute those guys. Tell me, RJ Barrett, what do you think about RJ Barrett so far? You know what I mean? And I'm not even talking about Rookie of the Year, just, how you feeling about him. And then, as far as your prediction for the season, have they changed based on the preseason?
RJ Barrett is the only sprinkle full of light that we have gotten in the last 5 years. It's a great choice. He's even proven it now that, Zion can even play the first game, and we're having a kid that, first of all, he's very smart. He knows how to deal with the media. Remember when they asked him, like, "Are you ready?" And he's like, "Oh, what do you think I'm here for?" Like he came from a good system in Duke. So RJ, I have no problems with RJ. He's been so consistent. He's the best player we have right now. You understand? Like, after losing Preseason and all that thing, he's the best in that we got. Right now, I feel like we're gonna win 39 games. Why I say 39 games? I feel like right now we're gonna probably end up like a lot of the games that we play, that we fight through like hell. But like yesterday's game, why go so hard but not finish the game, the job? You understand? So that's probably what's gonna happen to us. That we're gonna be in that brink of 39 games. Most likely, if we push that effort, we could get 43 games, 44 games. We're in the East Coast, so we're in the Eastern Conference. You don't need much games to make it to the playoff. So that's another thing that we got to put into consideration. We don't have LeBron in the league, so I say 39 games. But they could prove me wrong and win 43 games, and we make it to the playoff, hopefully,
Oh, okay. 39 games. All right. Let's see. Davon, I'm coming to you, Davon.
So, can you hear me?
Yep, I got you. RJ Barrett, and then your prediction based on what we've seen in the preseason, your predictions.
All right, so RJ Barrett, I love the pick. I love it. I love the way he played in the preseason. He's a lot better than I thought he was going to be. I mean, I thought he was struggle more as a rookie this year, but I did think he was honestly the best overall complete player in the draft. So I'm glad we got that pick. He's shown me, that he's more of a defender. He's just not a scorer. He can rebound for his position. He can pass the ball. He can play the 1, 2, or 3, in my opinion. We can run the offense through him. I like everything that I've seen from him so far. The shot hasn't fallen, but he hasn't hesitated to take it. He's strong going to the basket. He's pretty much everything that we could want in a third overall pick. Coming into his rookie year right now, he's playing at a high level. So, I look forward to watching him progress throughout the year. My predictions this year, I think we'll win about 33 games, maybe 33 games. Upper maybe 35, but I think we'll be in a lot of the games. I think we'll be in a lot of games. A lot of games won't be one-sided. We'll be in most of our games. And it'll just come down to a couple plays at the end, a couple of shots. See who steps up. In a lot of these games, I can see it right now. As we've been scrappy. We playing. Honestly, we've been playing good overall defense. We've had our mental lapses. Throughout the preseason. Especially that second game. But you get those in 82 games. You're gonna get those games once in a while. Everybody has them. So we're one team's just on, one team's just So, but other than that, I like what I've seen from everybody. Honestly, I like Fizdale's. We give him a lot of we talk a lot about his coaching style, but I like what I've seen. He's giving Randle a chance to be a point forward, which I don't like, but I see what he was trying to do there, because he does have the ability to do that, but not as a primary thing. It has to just be more natural. When he naturally does it, gets it on the break and go, I like what I see. He can do that, but trying to run the offense from even above the three-point line, that's where he shouldn't be. If it was more like a high post thing, I can see that. I can see him being a point forward. But overall, our team, I like what I see. It's a lot of talent out there. A lot of talent. It'll just come down to a couple bounces of the ball, a couple possessions, a lot of the games, and a lot of what happens with our point guard play and our guard play.
Yeah. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, been on for 3 hours. Been a long show. But I do want to say thank you for being here with me. Subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I go live. If you're on Sportscaster, Make sure you follow me on Sportscaster. I put in the link a couple of times. If you want to get some NBK apparel, man, I put it in the link. Go ahead and get that NBK apparel. I'm going to put the link in the chat once again. T-shirts, there's hats, there's bags. I just put it in the link. Go ahead and copy something, man. That'd be pretty dope. I want you to remember that this Monday, we got Sky Zoo joining the show, 10:30 p.m. So make sure you join us. Over the weekend, you got some free time. Listen to Sky Zoo's album, Retropolitan. Is pretty dope. Go check that out. I'm sure he'll talk a little bit about the album, but he'll be joining us Monday at 10:30 p.m. to give us his Knicks predictions. We'll talk a little bit about the NBA and what's going on in the NBA and do some general NBA predictions as well. All right. As for my predictions for the Knicks, based on the preseason, I think I was thinking we were going to be somewhere between 35 and 37 wins. I've lowered my predictions right now to about 30 until I see that we are going to be able to run some kind of serious offensive system. You know what I mean? So right now I'm at about 30. Now if they change it up, I could change. I could move up some. I'm at about 30. You know what I mean? Which is still a big improvement from last season. That's a 13-game improvement from last season. I was hoping we could get somewhere around 20, be 37 wins. That would have been perfect. I'm not sure. I got to see a little bit more. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm up out of here. I will catch you guys Monday night at 10:30 as Sky Zoo appears on the show. Thank you guys for spending some time on your Saturday with me. All right. And I am up out of here. I will catch you guys next week. Peace.
That's the thing.